Blimey, okay, well,
but it's all so stupidly laid back. Like I said, we'll leave the door open. Say, oh Sam, you're amazing. Thank you so much. This is the trouble with being bodybuilder, is and doing lots of resistance is all the cardio for the steps coming up and down the jail. Thank you, Sam. No, it's all very low key in the sense of we'll leave the door open. So I was here the other week. We did a podcast, and it was in that heat wave that we had, and it was all right, and then it progressively got hotter and hotter and hotter. And I think at one point in here, it was like 32 degrees or something.
Nice.
It was just Dubai, basically.
Nice.
Yeah, the top.
Yeah, almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
Marginally less slavery.
Yeah, marginally less slavery. So, but thank you for agreeing to come and join me.
No,
Sam.
you're very welcome. I to be honest, I didn't do any research.
Okay, cool.
Just Sam asked me to.
Yeah.
She's lovely. So, and it's in Shrewsbury.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm a big believer in. Are we recording? I don't know.
Yeah. No, we're all going. We're all good.
Fuck me. Okay. I'm a big believer in just doing everything that is thrown at you, as long as it's not wildly inconvenient or anything that comes along that there isn't like a huge cost associated with or whatever.
Yeah.
If you can do it, just do it. So it was this or sit in my own office talking to people. I may as well sit in your office and talk to people today.
Come to prison. So we always say, just come to prison.
I didn't realise that you own the prison.
Yeah.
I just assumed you had an office here.
Yeah.
But I guess having your office in the business you own makes more sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of our offices across all of our businesses are based in the prisons, because it just absolutely, it means we don't have external rents, we don't have secondary business rates, we don't have secondary utilities.
Well, given that you own the prisons, that now makes perfect sense. I just wasn't aware of that fact.
Absolutely. So we try and keep everybody sort of housed in, or they're remote. So we build like that. I did a little bit of research, in fairness. I don't tend to do masses of research. I tend to just sort of let people go through a conversation. But I think because you're 88, aren't you? Born 88?
Yes.
So you'll be what, 37, 38? 38. And then were you Wales' strongest man?
No, I ran Wales' Strongest Man.
Oh, did you?
My best friend won it on a few occasions, but I ran Wales' Strongest Man 2012 and 2013. Yeah. Still to this day, the only televised Wales' Strongest Man. We got the TV there, we got S4C filming, we had the news down. And there was a little bit of mumbling when we did that, because I was 21, so I was very young to run a comp. But effectively, I competed in 2011 in Wales' Strongest Man. It was run by a guy called Alex Gibby, and I don't really understand how, but my name got thrown into the hat as someone who is not a Mong. So could maybe have a go. And
won't fuck
up,
basically.
Job of it. So we ran to the second one. I actually, by that point, had moved to Shropshire. So at the end of the second one, I said, look, I don't actually live in Wales anymore, so this is kind of bollocks. And we passed it on to someone who was in Wales. But so that was that. I competed in Britain's Strongest Man as a junior in 2012 and was beaten by a guy that died in the competition. But he still beat me.
Died during the competition.
So I wasn't brilliant at strongman.
Okay. How did he die? What?
He had a heart attack.
Oh, Jesus.
But he still beat me.
Yeah.
So he's the winner, I guess.
Yeah, I just not there to collect it. I'm going to try because I think, like you, I'm a little bit savage sometimes with what I say, and I just say it as it is.
I mean, I was still shitter.
Yeah.
So no, I've done a bit of strongman. We run some Shropshire Strongest Man and stuff. Yeah. We run a grappling show in Shrewsbury now. In September every year, which is really fun. So I like running shows. I've run probably 30 or 40 bodybuilding shows.
They're full-on events as well. They're not like small. Like running something
if you're going to do something, do it properly, right? Yeah. And almost every event that we've ever run is for the love of the sport, right? You don't really make it.
I think if you're passionate about it,
but they add to overall brand image.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting a little bit of a who's me, it's weird. We had the paper in yesterday to talk about our drinks. Yeah. Because we made enough stock of these products to last us for between 6 months and a year. Yeah. And we sold it in about 10 days. And we're now on the third run in 2 months. So it's exponentially grown from where we thought it was going to. But the paper came by to do a piece on that, and they asked me to just explain a little bit about who I was and where we come from. And they're like, oh, can we just tell your story instead? That's a far more interesting story, and I find that super cringy because we've never done it. and there's an awful lot of self-gesticulation within this kind of entrepreneurial space. Right, I'm just someone who didn't want to work for someone else.
I get that.
But I moved to Shrewsbury in 2013 or 14 after the breakdown of a relationship with, I think I had about 300 quid and a car with no MOT, and I now own STROM, which we built off the back of that. I actually got a job working for Sky for a little while, which paid quite well, being that annoying guy in the shopping centre.
Oh, I was going to say, when you say working for Sky, it's obviously quite big.
Yeah,
so you were in the shopping centre going, hey, do you want to sign up to Sky? And
well, I did very little of that. I tended to just make friends with people and eventually be like, do you do much doing this? You'd be like, well, I could probably save you some money on your Sky, and by that point you're the person's friend, and
build the rapport,
they'd be a little bit more open to what you pay for your internet. I pay 30 quid. If I can do it for 20 quid, you don't have to do anything. Does that sound better? Oh, you might as well. So we did quite well with that. That allowed me to get a little bit of capital together to start a sports nutrition shop in the... They've knocked it down now. The Riverside.
The Riverside, yeah.
Because they were giving the units away.
Yeah.
I ran a sports nutrition business in Wales prior to moving to Shropshire. And there was a gap in Shrewsbury. And that went quite well. And now we're not the biggest independent brand in the UK, but we're up there. I'm also an owner of Beast Farm.
Yeah.
With Eddie Hall, which is another sports nutrition brand.
Yeah.
So I own a stake in that. I do all the formulation for that. I'm also a director of a brand called Combat Fuel, which is a military safe nutrition brand. And I'm also a director of a brand called HR Labs, which is another sports nutrition brand with a guy called Liam, who's based in Scotland. And there's another one that I'm involved with.
I love when people sort of go through it. Actually, there's one more. It's really easy to forget when you're involved with so many different things.
I do a lot of formulation for brands, and I'm a big fan of sweat equity. I'd much rather put some of my life into helping create something, and then if that thing ends up doing well, I've got a seat at the table forever. Then someone give me $5,000 and I go and blow it on.
Oh, I love that.
Whatever. Yeah. So I've got lots of fingers in little pies, but STROM is my main thing. We were primarily in the strongman, powerlifting, bodybuilding, the hardcore space.
Yeah.
We're now in just athlete spaces. So people love to argue about whether bodybuilding is a sport. It's definitely not. It's definitely a pageant.
Yeah.
For something to be a sport, you have to be measured on like your athletic ability.
Do you not think that's see, I would have said.
Of course, it's fucking not. How?
Because it's based on effort you have to put into it to
when has the effort involved in an activity ever determined what that activity is? That's not how that works.
But cricket comes across as a sport, and
because it involves athletic ability. A sport has to involve athletic ability.
I mean, some of the guys I play cricket with now, I'm not sure there's a lot of athletic ability.
But they're still judged on their performance.
Yeah,
bodybuilding are only judged on your aesthetic. So I don't like to say that we work with real sports people.
Is that me making the mistake between looking at bodybuilding to something like World's Strongest Man, whereas obviously all strongest man competitions or strength competitions where you're having to perform and do different lifts, different exercises and such.
Even darts, you have to do a thing. It's performative. As opposed to being aesthetic. But regardless, bodybuilders are, you're absolutely right, some of the most dedicated, let's not use the word athletes, but some of the most dedicated people on the planet. Athletes is maybe okay, that implies athletic ability. No one cares when you're on stage how strong you are. No one cares how fast you can run.
So whether you can lift, it's purely aesthetic.
It's purely aesthetics. But we work in the space of people that are dedicated. So people who are really focused on what they're doing, be that bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, or more sports now, cyclists, BJJ, MMA, grappling. That's a big focus for us at the moment, through to CrossFit, High Rocks, all that kind of stuff. So STROM as our primary brand is less mainstream and more serious about what they do. But then we launch these drinks. And that feels like the watershed moment where we go from being like a reasonable sized brand to something that's...
Where did you start with STROM? Did you start with, because I looked at the website, you've got like 70 different, I guess, nutritional or performance-based products, from everything from creatine to max to strength, from literally across the board. So where did you start there, or did you start drinks?
We were a retailer and events company in North Wales. And as an athlete, when I competed in bodybuilding as well. There were a lot of products that I couldn't buy, and I was sponsored by a brand. I won't name them, but I was sponsored by a brand, and I went to them with a pitch for a couple of products that I wanted, and they said we can't make those because the model is like if something sells for £30, it ideally won't cost more than £3.
Yeah.
Definitely can't cost more than £6. And I wanted to make stuff that cost £20 to sell for £30.
Yeah.
Because I'm the athlete, right? I'm the athlete. I was the person using the products. I want a good product for my money.
Yeah.
That wasn't really the way the businesses work at the time. I'm super proud to be able to say that we were the first brand that really pushed non-proprietary blends and formulas, just telling you exactly what was contained within them. And the rest of the industry has had to follow because consumers are more switched on than they've ever been. But the thing we really did, our real breakout moment, and I still remember a family member ringing me and being like, you can't put that out there, you'll get arrested. I was at the time a user of performance-enhancing drugs, huge within the sport.
Yeah.
I'm not these days because I compete in combat sports and I'm old. But so we made a product called Support Max that was for people that use performance-enhancing drugs, and it was all of the things that you should probably take while you're taking them to, I'm not going to say make it safe, but to reduce the risk.
Yeah, to counteract sort of side effects and such, or to make it...
liver support, kidney support, blood pressure support, fluid retention support, hormonal support, that kind of stuff, all in one product. It was quite an expensive product to make. The first batch I got made on a credit card. The margin was under 20% a tub, and I was like, well, I'll just use it forever if it doesn't work. But we did an advert or a video on Facebook at the time because it was before Instagram, and I just said, look, I use steroids. I know you all use steroids. I can't sell you steroids, but if you are using them, this might be a thing that'd be really good for you to have. And it went, I guess, the equivalent of viral at the time. We sold out within a week.
Yeah.
And then we rolled that into more stock, and that was, Christ, 9 or 10 years ago now. So at the time, that was a conversation that just people didn't have publicly. Now it's a conversation everyone has everywhere.
Yeah,
and the landscape has changed dramatically. But we were really the first people to say that out loud.
Yeah, and I picked that up from looking at your content. I went back and looked at your very first YouTube video, your YouTube channel and stuff like that.
Shed.
And just like a curtain up in the back and such like that. And you were chatting about. It was really interesting to go back sort of 11, 12 years to watch what people first of all did.
So at that point, I was using an old lady's shed.
Yeah.
I was buying short-dated or bankrupt stock.
Yeah.
While working for Sky, and it's gone okay.
Yeah.
It's gone okay. So we now have a gym, a wellness centre, a BJJ space, retail store, warehouse, staff. Contribute to the economy positively, pay business rates and pay PAYE tax and all sorts of stuff to the government, and I guess that's all really good. But it's tough for people starting now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I guess it depends on the industry, and there's some things. Employing staff is by far the hardest thing, I think, because you're dealing with people, and whilst it becomes the business's greatest asset, certainly the way I look at it is, people become the business's
greatest asset. Bad people are the exact opposite.
Exactly that, and you have to make a judgment based on whatever you know about somebody. It might be a 30-minute conversation, could be a couple of hours, could be somebody you know, could be somebody you don't, and you're doing that, and then you have to entrust them to then go and do this job and do it really well, ideally the way you want it done, and to grow. And as it scales, that just scales with it. And then eventually you'll need people just because you have people.
And if it turns out they're a fucking idiot, it's really hard to get rid of them.
That's so difficult. It's so hard to
which I think is, the government have put in a lot of stuff. I've no idea, I've not watched any of your stuff, so I don't even know what the topic of the podcast is, but the government has done an awful lot of stuff, particularly Labour, to protect workers. But what it does is it makes it really hard for you to take a punt on someone.
Yeah.
So whereas before, you could just, you know what, I think I see something in this person, I'll give them a chance. And you could kind of then decide in a month whether it was going to work out for you. Mm-hmm. Once you commit to someone now, it's really hard to just go, actually, this isn't for us, which I think makes it harder for young people to get into positions, particularly when they're lacking experience and so on.
It will change. We will get to a point in the next... probably 2 years, well, depending on what happens government-wise, if it stays Labour, we probably will get to a point in the next 2 years where people will have all employment rights from day one. There won't be this probation period anymore. And you're absolutely right that, and I've been unfortunate enough, I don't know, to go through having brilliant staff and amazing staff and having awful staff, and I've got it, pretty right at some points. I've got it awfully wrong. We've been in the situation of going to tribunals and having to deal with tribunals and such like that. And I remember speaking to the guys at ACAS, and somebody had taken us to ACAS, and I was chatting to them about it, and I found out from our solicitor that when an employee goes to ACAS, they don't have to pay for anything.
Yeah,
they just go to ACAS.
You have to pay for everything.
But you still have to defend it. When I questioned it, I went, well, it's designed for like the Starbucks and the Amazons of this world. I have huge solicitors, and it's just one rule for everybody.
But look, I mean, it can be the same as family law with regards to fathers who want access to their kids, right?
Yeah.
Mum gets full legal aid, and dad has to find the money from somewhere.
Yeah.
It's right throughout all levels of society, this imbalance, because I guess something that's been set up to protect maybe what's perceived as the more vulnerable person ends up doing it.
It's historic, I think, but
at the expense of there being any consideration for the people on the other side being maybe not Starbucks in that scenario or whatever.
So
it's difficult.
It is because as companies, you naturally, as the company, you'll always be the bad person.
Of course,
the company's always, and as a company owner, and certainly in the marketing side, there is always this. I guess certainly I actually don't think like this, but there is this always thought of going, if that goes wrong, what's that going to look like for the brand? How is it going to damage the brand, and what does that look like? Because you spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, blood, sweat, tears, money building a brand, and one thing can sweep it out. So it's that nervousness of. Yeah, no, I mean,
we actually operate a really small team, and they're all fantastic, and we're super lucky. But because we're a small team, we are looking for someone at the moment. The smaller your team, the bigger impact it has on you. If, let's say, someone's worked for you for 6 months, and then suddenly they decide that they've got a mental health problem, which may be entirely legitimate.
Yeah.
But it also might not be.
Yeah.
And you've no way of proving it either way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you then can't replace that person.
Yeah.
But your whole team suffers as a result, and you end up effectively paying double bubble to pay their wages while you're also paying.
And now you got sick from day one, and off you go and such.
It's difficult, potentially really difficult.
How many staff do you have at Strong?
Just 4.
Okay,
just 4.
It is. I think anything under 7 is a beautiful number, because you don't really need your HR in sort of a separate person department in the same way. Everybody knows what everyone's doing. Everyone mucks in. You're not having to put systems in place to have comms with each other. You can just have a chat. You can just, backwards and forwards. You tend to be a really nice tribe, and it works really well.
Our business model is we are 80% B2B. So we sell pallets of stock to other shops. We've got a pallet going out to Norway today, and we've got strong US.
Don't say that. Just before Saturday.
We got, that's football, right?
It is, which I don't really watch, but I sort of get caught up in the process.
We've got Strom USA, we've got Strom New Zealand, Strom Australia, Strom Ireland. So the majority of our stock comes in, goes onto pallets, goes to other shops, goes to distributors. We work with a couple of really good distributors, and then they deal with the picking and packing of individual orders. We maybe send out like 100 parcels a day to direct consumers. And we do that quite deliberately, because if we did all of our business direct to consumer, we would need 10, 12 staff. We would make more margin, but we'd also have more problems. And crucially, as a retailer, we've got 300 retailers that work with us, and all of those retailers are spending money on Google Ads, boosted posts, all that to promote our brand, because the reason they do that, I think, is because we've never done discount codes, promos. We don't do Black Friday at all. We don't do any of that, because we're so dependent on those retailers, and they depend on us not shafting them.
Because you'll always be able to cut their margin, because obviously you've got the wholesale margin.
Yes, we're almost always the most expensive place to buy our products from, because we want consumers to buy from the retailers. Because that network of retailers is super, super important to us. One of the big benefits of that is it allows us to keep that small team. Because I'd hate to be managing, 30, 40, 50 members of staff. The other thing with a big staff team, I guess, is we haven't had this for like 8 years, but it still terrifies me. Like, if you have a quiet month and you've got 20 people,
payroll,
it suddenly gets really, really worrying. Whereas we've got 4 people, it's.
I totally get that. I think I've probably said on here before with other people that I can remember the days where we had, you know, I don't know, 12 grand sort of payroll, and it was like, how do we find that in the next 7 days? But actually it's small enough that I was able to get on the phone, push sales over the line, and just get that over. Now couldn't do it, wouldn't have an impact, wouldn't touch it.
So you've got 3 prisons.
So yeah, we got three prisons. So we've got six companies all together. They're sort of all interlinked. I built it like an ecosystem. So we have our parent company, which houses the senior team, the top management team, and then the like head office functions, if you will, so the marketing, sales, HR, finance, that sort of stuff. And then we've got our property companies. So each of our properties are in different property companies.
Lease them back to the.
Then we have an operations company, an attraction company, and they basically lease a section.
So it's McDonald's?
No, because I think McDonald's is run by, what happens is that McDonald's you start working for McDonald's, you go through the management training program, you become a manager, and they go, would you like to buy into a franchise? And then you open your own franchise.
Yeah, but McDonald's own the property.
They own the property, correct, yeah. So I guess we own, we own the property, yeah. So if you take Peterhead, for example, which is our biggest one in Scotland, so that's 14 acres. So we've got 10 acres within the prison wall, and then 4 acres outside. So the 4 acres outside really isn't a massive interest to me. We will put that under a residential development scheme. We'll sell that to a residential developer. They'll build houses. And then within the prison, we'll own the entire site, and then we operate an attraction, which is leased to an attraction company, which we own.
Yeah.
But we have a director that just runs that. That's his job, just to run that. We'll open things like a cafe, we'll have community space, there's a building in there we're going to rent to another company that won't be one of ours, they'll just rent the space as a commercial entity. We'll have like holiday lets and units and stuff like that, which we'll manage ourselves, and then we'll build a hotel and a restaurant.
In the prison?
In the prison, which I want us to manage. I want us to build our own hotel company and become a hotelier and have a hotel brand, a really nice boutique hotel brand, sort of sat at the, ideally 4-star, but we will have some 3 stars, sat in that sort of bracket. But that's a challenge for me at the moment. That's probably one of my biggest headaches, because from a lending perspective.
Well, I was about to ask where you fund that.
Yeah, so when I bought the prison, when I first bought Shrewsbury, it was really, really challenging, because I had to buy it because they were selling it, and if I didn't buy it, we'd have lost our business. So I was like, right, I need to buy it to secure my business.
So I'm unfamiliar with the sector.
Yeah.
You had the attraction here first?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. So we had the attraction here for 5 years.
Right.
Yeah. Developer then decided to sell the building.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't know if I can afford it. Kind of worked out how I could get the right price with them. So I did deal with them. They were really amenable, really, really easygoing with that. But then trying to raise the finance, I spoke to the bank and the lenders who had been with for ages, and they were like, yeah, we're never going to lend you this money. It's too risky. It's just too risky.
Yeah.
They looked
because
at it.
You want to buy an old prison in truth.
Yeah. And
it seems like a reasonable position.
Yeah. And they're always about exit. So they're going, well, look, reality is, what if it all goes wrong?
I just missed my mouth.
What if it all goes wrong? How are we going to get our money back? So
you've still got a prison?
Yeah, but who are you going to sell it to?
I mean, you want to buy it. Someone else?
That's the challenge. They were like, who are we going to sell it to? So that went sort of through. We ended up having to put 50% into it. So we ended up having to pay 50%, and the bank lent us 50%.
I think I remember this being in the paper around the time.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember it being in the paper.
Yeah. So I had to front up. Oh, it was about £1 million. So I basically had to pump that in cash.
I mean, £2 million for Shrewsbury Central property of this size seems reasonable.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with you.
Prison.
Yeah, I would agree with you absolutely.
Like this volume of property, if it wasn't a prison,
it's so valuable. I always say, if this place was just a flat piece of land. Yeah, absolutely.
Or if it had residential permission to be flats.
Yeah. I mean, converting a jail into housing is very, very difficult. Flats you might be able to do. Hotels, straightforward.
Yeah.
I say straightforward.
And then I guess at some point for content, you need a former inmate to come and pay to stay.
We use prison officers, so we use prison officers to run tours and stuff like that when we first started.
If you set up a hotel.
That would be a nice full circle. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we used to run music events here, so we used to do some amazing night behind bars, we called it, or music behind bars. And we used to have live bands, and we used to get loads of ex-prisoners coming back, so loads of ex-cons, and they'd turn up, and they'd have a beer, and they'd go and sit in their cell, and we'd see them just doing videos and stuff like that onto Instagram. Go, this is amazing. I'm here, back in my old prison, back in my old cell. This time I got a beer, and I'm listening to this rock band, and there's no screws in here, and it's great, and I can just get smashed. Nice. And it was just lots of that. And we had a sponsorship with Hooch, which is I know, right? So that worked really well for us. But yeah, so we bought the jail, and it was really tough to get the lenders over the line, and they said to me originally, we're never going to lend you this money, and I thought, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. At the point, Emma, my wife, and I, we could have walked away, closed the whole business down, walked away with 200 grand in the bank, pretty much free and clear. And instead, what we did was we rolled it up, and we basically paid the owners 200 grand to give us a long exchange period. So we gave ourselves an exchange now. Here's 200k, and we'll pay you the balance in 18 months. Yeah, and over that 18 months, we had to raise the capital and then do 2 more financial years to show to the bank we could make it.
I mean, I guess that 200k was non-refundable, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I did that on a house purchase before. I was like, look, it's going to take me 6 months to get this over the line. Yeah. But I can give you 50 grand now, and if I fuck you about, that's your 50 grand.
Absolutely.
There's no reason they'd say no to that, right?
And and these guys were like, yeah, all right, no one else is offering us any money for it, and that is sort of the same sense. We're happy to take that. Wait 18 months. You've still got to pay your rent in the meantime, or paying bits in the meantime. You've still got to keep the upkeep. You've got to insure it, take it on. So that was fine. So anyway, so we did that, got it over the line. And as people know, the ironic thing is when we came to buy our second jail, I sat in this was a couple of years later. I went to buy the prison in Shepton. And I sat with the lenders, and they sat one side table, I sat the other, and randomly my accountant sat next to them.
Sat with them?
Yeah, sat the other side of the table with them. I think they did it purposely. But yeah, so we had this conversation. I said, right, so I want to buy this jail. It's going to cost this much. This is where I want to do it. Here's how much I'm going to put in, and that's it. And I'm not jumping through your hoops. I'm not doing all these business plans. I'm not doing all this lending. You could see our accounts. You see what we've done.
Shown them it works.
We proved it. And the guy just sat there and he looked at the accountant and he went, yeah, right. And I was like, cool. Yeah. Happy days. And it was that straightforward because we already had one, we proved the model, and off we went. And that's why the third one became easier, because you get good at it.
Same reason, right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, we did that one, we just bought out in cash. So that was easier.
Well.
Yeah, so that worked easier.
So primary revenue stream is?
Well, the attractions...
Is the attraction?
It certainly is and will be at the moment.
And the cafe is bundled separate to that?
Yes, the cafe sort of sits on the side of it. But what will happen is the hotels, and I guess to where we started, that was when I sat with the same conversation with the lenders, and I said about hotels, I said, right, I want to build hotels in the jail. And I went, okay, what does that look like? And the hotel at Shrewsbury, for example, it's a 54-bedroom hotel. It's a spa and it's a rooftop restaurant.
Here?
Yeah, here. So it's going to be, I mean, they're floating different prices depending on the finish.
It's going to be more than a tenner.
It's going to be about 7 million, yeah. So sort of push that back to the lenders, and they're like, yeah, we don't like the idea that you're the operator because you've never done it. No track record. We have no confidence. Go find a different operator.
Sure. Is the answer to that not? But I'm not a monk.
Yeah, well, I would agree. I would agree. I said I did it with the prisons originally. I never ran an attraction.
I think if you're not a monk, you can do most things.
Yeah.
And if you are a monk, it doesn't matter what you've already done.
Yeah.
And I say that just as I've travelled around the world a lot. I've been to a lot of places. Some people are good at doing stuff and other people are bad at doing stuff. If you're good at doing stuff, I can't imagine a hotel is logistically any more complicated than running attractions.
No, absolutely not. Same style, same industry, and actually to a degree, the framework of it is a little bit easy because we'll build it from scratch. Yeah. So it'll be built for purpose. Whereas trying to turn a prison into an attraction, you're trying to almost fit a round peg into a square hole. It will go, but you have to manage it.
My daughter came with my brother and sister-in-law and their kids maybe a month ago to the attraction. They had a fantastic time. I've never been.
Yeah.
Just you don't do the thing that's in
your doorstep, right? Yeah, don't do stuff on your doorstep.
Always the same. Yeah. Like when I go and we've got STROM in the US. There's quite a few things I've gone and done with them that they've never done because you don't do the things in your.
Yeah.
You know.
How did you come up with the name? Where did that come from?
So it means it's Old Norse word for power or strength. When I first opened the supplement shop in Bala, it was just Bala Supplement Shop, and a rugby player, and I'll always credit him with this, a rugby player called Thomas Gwillem Hughes came in and said, I think a good name would be Strom, means power in Viking. And I never checked it. I just went, yeah, sure, we'll do that. It sounds great. And we just ran with it. It means electricity in German. I think it means big tree in one of the Eastern European languages.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just ran with it from there. We still get people letting us know that we've spelled storm wrong. Less and less. Less and less that happens. But yeah, it was just one of those things that I think if you'd overthought it, we might not have done it, but it's worked really well. But yeah, if we'd sat down and thought about it, we probably never would have run with that, because we had 5 years of people assuming that we can't spell and so on. But it's worked really, really well.
Sometimes you can just overthink it. You start getting a board out and writing all the different things up. We go this way and this, and what is our product, and what does it mean to people, and what's all this. And actually, sometimes it's just a case of.
We just whatever our product is, we just put Max on the end now. And then people know what it is.
It's do you know what, it's because Sam bought me this. I've not tried this yet. In fairness, Sam bought some for Emma, my wife, the other day, and she had one of these at home. It's one of the Hydromax coconut water, and she's not good with anything sweet really at all. So she was like, it's a bit too sweet for me. I tried a little bit. But yeah, I haven't had this, and it is really
nice.
It is really nice. I want to keep drinking it. I'm trying to think of what the best word is. I'm not overly articulate sometimes.
The Hydromax is a stimulant-free hydration drink made with real coconut water. People are more and more turning away from overly artificial things. It's lightly carbonated. The fizzy drinks market has traditionally been energy drinks because I need energy, and I'm going to go and I'm going to have a Red Bull and I'm going to do.
So it's like Monster, energy,
and that's
Red
what
Bull,
grown-ups drink.
Makes sense.
And then there's fizzy pop, and that's what kids drink. And there's been very little in the middle that is for adults that don't want Monster. So that's kind of where this really fits in. It's caffeine free. You can have it late at night. You can have it first in the morning.
But that's what I was going to ask you. Is that where the difference is? It's and again, you had to sort of excuse my lack of intelligence with these things. But obviously, having no added sugar to it, no caffeine into it, that difference, because things like Monster are just loaded, aren't they?
Well, so because of the sugar tax, very little Monster that sells in the UK is the sugar version. Most of it is sugar-free, but it's just caffeine and taurine. We worked out the costing to make a Monster clone, not the branding, not the tub, just the liquid that's in it. And the active ingredients would cost us 2p a can. The flavouring would cost us about 10p a can. But the can would cost us 3 or 4 times that, because of the way they textured them. They do a fantastic job of that. And obviously they've done an amazing job of marketing and so on. So we never want to get into a fight with Monster. But this is caffeine free. And we've had a lot of people who are used to having a Monster first thing in the morning. Like they leave the house, they have a Monster out the fridge. They have that instead now. Have it when they train. It's lightly carbonated because I use it when I train. The Focus Max is a little bit different. The Focus Max is slightly fizzier. Particularly in the peach iced tea, that actually, the carbonation of that is being increased. But that contains cognizin, it contains uridine monophosphate, which is a really unique ingredient. Some caffeine, but not loads, naturally sourced caffeine, and some tyrosine. Now, this is kind of specifically put together around my needs, and kind of appeals or works particularly well for people that are what's the term people use at the moment? Neurospicy. Uridine monophosphate is an ingredient that really, really works for people that struggle to, people that kind of ADHD, spectrum.
I don't want to hear a word from you over there in the corner, Jordan.
You mean every single person in business?
Well, yeah, pretty much every single person I think I speak to must be in that spectrum quite high.
So I was diagnosed with Asperger's as a kid. And I don't like to ever talk about it because it's super trendy now, and we're not allowed to say Asperger's.
That's quite unusual because although you're not old, you're 38, but to be diagnosed with Asperger's,
we don't use the word Asperger's anymore because he was a Nazi, and that's bad. I definitely shouldn't have done that. You'd have to. And it used to be that autism was. Autism was what you see on the Undateables. I like trains. And then Asperger's was kind of higher functioning. A little bit more Rain Man-y, but with or without the lack of. So I used to really struggle as a kid. Absolutely fine now. I think it's a thing. I'm not going to say you grow out of, because that's wild. It's a thing you learn to deal with, and as you get older, I give almost no fucks about what anyone thinks anymore, which is super freeing. I just don't care.
Absolutely.
So you're not allowed to say Asperger's anymore because that was differentiating. You know,
I didn't know that.
The smart ones and the smart ones was Asperger's, and so now it's all just
on the spectrum.
But the where I was going with this, because we're talking about business and things, is the internet is currently full of fucking victims.
Yeah.
Right? And it's full of people that want an excuse as to why they're fucking losers. Every single successful person I know is at the very least partially on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And everyone's on the spectrum. Oh, yeah, kind of, but fuck off. Like, honestly, like...
Jordan's loving this. He's just like, it's like having two Joel. He's like, he can see what's going to happen in a second.
People love a crutch.
Yeah.
People love a crutch. People love to be... well, because of my autism...
Someone else's fault. Because
fucking
of this,
Elon
because
Musk,
of that.
world's first trillionaire, definitely fucking autistic.
Yeah.
Bill Gates, Richard Branson, famously.
100%, yeah.
Everybody that's been super successful is on the spectrum. So people saying, oh, you know, because of my hidden disability or whatever, because of your hidden fucking ability. Like, oh, I get really focused in on things. Yeah, good. That's how you... Oh, I'm hyper-focused on something. I can't get my
head onto this. I can't get my head onto that. It's because you're hyper-focused on shit that you enjoy.
Yeah.
If you're passionate about something...
Make that into a thing.
That's your thing. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
But, I get really riled up by people justifying their mediocrity. Because of a label or whatever. Actually, you just go, well, how do I use that to my advantage?
Yeah, I get it. It fucking grates me. I don't go out and say it too much anymore because
you're not allowed to call people wet fucking.
No, well, it's just because what happens is really sad, and I think this podcast will start to change that. But because we have a customer-facing business, you're always being really careful about what you say and what you do. And and if you look at the content I used to make years ago, it was just like, fuck it, because we had nothing to lose, and then stuff builds. Yeah. And suddenly it's like, well, hold on, you can't go and say that because if somebody says that,
you're a public-facing. You're a very public-facing business, and maybe it's different for you. The majority of my hardcore customer base, I think, genuinely.
Well, it's a tribe, isn't it? Your
30 to 50-year-old men, right?
But there'll be a tribe, won't they? They'll be the same.
There's no racial or religious profile to my kind of customer base. Yeah. We've got people from all, but they are generally men in their 30s to 50s, and we have got female customers and younger customers and all. But that's our key is guys in their 30s to their 50s, and almost all of them are sick and tired of all the nonsense in the world currently. Yeah. Same with all this trans bollocks, all this woke bollocks, all this non-binary bollocks. Everyone's fucking sick of it. If I were to put up a story saying, "Oh, non-binary is not a thing," you're just fucking losers with no personality trying to make yourself interesting, I would probably get 10 people going, "That's awful, you can't say that."
You'd get more than 10 people.
And everybody else go, "Yeah, I kind of agree," and then just carry on buying our stuff. With what you're doing, I guess it's very different.
I mean, look, it's a no-win world that shouldn't be in a win or lose situation.
I think if we all stop pandering to it, it goes away.
I think that the challenge that I find, and I think I say this a lot to people, probably, and I do say this publicly as well, is I will. My wife has just literally leaned around the corner to go, "Oh shit, what's he about to say that's going to ruin our business?" I've developed a very nice lifestyle I'm happy with. Be careful what you say.
Yeah.
Is exactly that. But it's you run that risk because we've got so many different types of, so many different demographics that visit, and we absolutely have a demographic that will be, we've got a very, very big demographic, and we'd get an awful lot of support about people all the time. People just turn your prison back into a detention centre or an immigration centre. And we had the conversations with 2 councils and a government about using one of the prisons as an immigration centre. And I looked at it, and my business partner and I looked at it, and we looked at the numbers, and we were like, wow, that is a lot of money. A lot of money. We would make so much more cash.
Stopping the boats would cost less.
We would have made so much cash, and it was when they were putting the floating I can't remember what it's called, when they were putting together the floating immigration centre, they asked about one of our jails.
Is this the Stoke Heath thing, or?
No. They had a floating immigration centre. And down
but they
south.
Closed it because
they never really opened, or whatever it was. They opened briefly, but anyway. So they looked at that with us, and I looked at the money, and I was like, that is a serious amount of cash. And I sort of weighed up, going, well, what is it we do? What are we trying to do? Are we just about the money?
The problem you've got is if that rug is pulled from under you, you've then potentially not got a business you can reinsert.
Well, I don't think that rug's going anywhere. I think if we had done that, then let's face it, immigration isn't going anywhere. It's not going to be less, not in the current government. So our current model is still going to be, if we've done that, it will always be required. And actually, I would argue that if Reform or Conservative came in, it would be required even more so, and becomes an operating model.
In terms of the detention centre, it would be
for sure.
not fun as a business to run.
I'd said that if we did that, we probably need to go and live in a different country. Have that run over there. We will go live somewhere else. But actually, I quite like the idea. There's parts of America, and I've said this before, that I really like the idea of living in, because they're so pro business and entrepreneurship. They're so pro success of going out and working hard.
I spend a fair amount of time in America, and in the American states that interest me, the attitude seems to be like, as long as you're not bothering us, fuck off and do what you want. Which is great. But they've got the space to do that, right?
Absolutely. And if you work hard and you break your back to do something and you achieve something for it and you become success, whatever success looks like, they celebrate it. They really celebrate it. Whereas over here,
not so much.
No, not at all. Like I'll have
conversations. Culturally, that's why I avoid doing a lot of stuff like this, because I don't like to talk about what I've achieved. For fear of people wanting to shit on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's interesting actually is I see an awful lot of people that I know haven't achieved very much shouting about how successful they are. That's a really strange thing about social media. The people who I know that are really successful say very little on social media.
They don't. And
the people who are like, maybe they've just started to do okay, they're really quick to tell you about it.
I get that, and I think that. I know lots of different business owners in different places, and I think success is measured in whatever metric that individuals measure success in. But I would agree with that people that tell you how well they're doing, maybe that's not the reality. And again, I have this.
It varies, right? And there's exceptions to the rule and so on. There are exceptions to the rule. I went to Palais Hall. Maybe a month ago for dinner. It's a night. There used to be a Michelin star restaurant near Bala. Drive over there, and I was wearing these shorts and a different t-shirt, and I kind of went in and it's really fancy. And I said, look, I hate to be that guy, but can I just get like a steak and chips? And they're like, well, not really. It's like a 5-course tasting menu. I was like, but is there steak on that menu?
Can you just do steak and
chips? And he kind of went off. And then there was another guy at the bar who he spoke to. I didn't really twig, but the guy came over, we'll do steak and chips. And then a little bit later, I turned around to the guy and I said, this other guy was the only other guy in there that was dressed like a tramp, like me. I said, they'll let fucking anyone in here. And he's like, well, I own it, so. I was like, okay, fair enough, And we got chatting away, and it turns out he turned up in his helicopter. The Ferrari that was parked out the front was his, the one that lives there. He helicopters between different places, and he owns
as you do
all manner of businesses. Incredibly successful guy, really, really humble, but just a normal guy that done incredibly well. But you really had to claw out of him, like, is that your Ferrari out the front? Well, yeah, it is. Have you come in that tonight? No. How have you got here? Helicopter. Like, he wasn't in a rush to tell you any of these things. And that's kind of a commonality I find with these super successful people.
I would agree with that. I think that's. I do see other people that have made it very successful, and they will absolutely tell and show. And I guess it depends on the environment. Sometimes when they're together, there's a balance of I'm richer than you, or I've got more than you, or I've done this, and there's that kind of internal sort of.
When I'm with my friends who are of a similar, when I'm with my friends who are of a similar level or better than me, not only do we all clap for each other, but we're super quick to. I've got a friend who's currently looking for a castle to buy. And I rib him about his car choices, and I think that's
I'd love to buy a castle. I'm all about buying a castle. Yeah, they're ridiculously cheap.
You own 3 prisons, so I guess it wouldn't even be that off-brand for you.
No, it's not. It perfectly fits. I'm trying to get Shrewsbury Castle.
It's not a proper castle, is it?
It's not. I mean, they say that as well. They go, well, it's kind of like just a stately home. I'm like, well, it's still a castle. It's still got the title. But yes, I know what you mean. Like,
but no, certainly, I think within those circles, they just maybe don't do it publicly.
Yeah.
Again, the people who I know that are more successful than me will be the first people to clap.
Yeah.
Always.
Because they know how hard it is. They know the graft.
The quicker you get to where they're at, the sooner we can go and do boy time.
Yeah.
Because whether you are, I don't know, 18 and going out and whatever you do when you're 18, or the game stays the same. It's just the setting that changes, right?
Yeah.
You know, you go and hang out with the boys. It's just that like they might be in Monte Carlo or something. But it's the same basic thing.
Exactly that.
It's guy time.
Yeah, and we've got friends. I'm very fortunate that we've got another family who have done very well for themselves. So we're kind of at a similar space. So we go on holiday together. So we'll go skiing together.
Because neither one of you needs anything from each other.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. And we go sort of every year. So the other year we went to South America and we did Brazil and Colombia and we did the rainforest and we just spent like 2.5 weeks just together in that space. Yeah. It was beautiful because it wasn't this kind of, we can't afford this. Or
totally.
It was just completely level. So it was beautiful, and that works really, really well.
Easter holidays, we just did Iceland.
Oh, nice.
With a very similar thing. Got an Airbnb between the two families.
Yeah.
There was no conversation about who's going to pay for that, or we just got on with it, and it's a thing no one really talks about.
Yeah.
Because we still do stuff with our friends from when we were kids, but sometimes there is a disparity that can make it a little bit and awkward, because you kind of feel like maybe you need to pay for them so you can all do the same activity, or
I mean, when we go to the pub, so if I go to the pub with the friends I grew up with in the village. I'm from a very small village, so grew up with these friends, and they were all private school kids. So they all went to private school. They're all incredibly academic. I was the one that went to the local school, not particularly sharp or academic at all. One of them's now very successful as a translator. His wife is a DOP on things like Last of Us and Game of Thrones and stuff like that. So she's done very, very well. They've done very well as a couple. I've got another one who's a vicar, who's random as hell because he's a vicar, but he'll still smoke a cigar and have a whiskey with me.
Nice.
And play computer games, play Street Fighter 2 on like the PlayStation or something like that. So he'll still do that. And then somebody else that again has done very well, but now lives in a field, lives in a yurt. Basically, has built a yurt into a field, lives in that. And when we catch up, we'll go to the pub, and it's just like you just never left. And it's just everyone accepts you for who you are and for who you were when you grew up, effectively. So those things work well. Whereas I find when I don't like meeting new people now in business settings, especially if I'm being introduced. There was a networking thing the other day, which was great that I got invited, and I was really appreciative of getting invited. But every time they introduced me, it was like, this is Joel, so he owns Shrewsbury Prison. And I have to go through that whole fucking process of going, so I did this. And I must have done that 5-6 times, and I feel obligated to then say, so what do you do? And then they would tell me what they do. And I'm thinking in my head going, I've really got no interest in this conversation, and it's not being rude. I just don't.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, you asked me here.
Oh no, you're different. You're completely different. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're completely different. I think the podcast will be different. I'm talking about this was a few hundred people at a rugby event, and now they're all going to be like, oh my god, he didn't want to speak to me.
You'll edit that out as well.
No, he'll leave that in. He's got so much dirt on me, it's unbelievable. Jordan could take me down in seconds.
My videographer's got a folder.
Oh, Jordan could take me down in seconds, or either that, or he'd try and do it, and it would just make me. And that's probably what he's doing wrong.
Like the Andrew Tate thing. We don't live in Romania.
Sure. Yeah. I think we have spoken about Andrew Tate, haven't we? Because again, I got really angry about this because we built a kids education program. So we built education behind bars. It's evolved over time. It's a brilliant program, takes students through life in prison and it engages them in a way that I would have wanted to be engaged with school. Yes, there's a little bit of theory in a classroom, teachers get it, but there's lots of practical, lots of going into cells, lots of prisoner engagement, lots of prison officer engagement, lots of understanding, learning, but very practical. And at the time, I wanted us to build programs. We've got various different programs, but I wanted us to build programs really targeted at young lads. And we were talking about media portrayal and how that affects people's perception of crime.
Yeah.
So we used to use the craze, but the problem has become, nobody knows who the fucking craze are anymore.
But they know who it is.
Yeah, and so I was like,
not been convicted of any crime.
No, but I was like, let's use Tate Brothers as an example. Teachers won't accept it because schools ban even talking about
the Tate thing's really interesting, right? Because he is effectively a melon.
Yeah, that's the same word for it. Yeah.
However, he has become the figurehead for those lost boys who look at all these cross-dressing nursery rhyme telling people or whatever is being pushed on them, and they reject it. Yeah. And that's as far away as they can get.
Yeah. It's the opposite end of the spectrum.
Like we had Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and overt displays of masculinity, which we as young men gravitated towards. So we didn't have to go to dirtbag people trafficker because we had socially acceptable displays of masculinity, whereas we don't really have that anymore. We just have the extremes. Same with politics, same with everything. Everything's become so extreme on either end because the internet and social media allows that conversation to escalate to the most divergent possible points. Whereas in almost every argument, the correct answer is somewhere in this bit. But the people who are the loudest are Andrew Tate over here and Sam Smith, fuck that guy. Sam Smith over here, or Andrew Tate.
Dressing as a violin.
And because those two are the loudest people in the room, you get young men who go,
I'm not
fuck that guy, I'm going to go over there. Neither one of them can go, oh, actually, I quite like this relatively normal person that's got 100,000 followers because he's not shouted loud enough and he's not been controversial enough for people to hear his message, right? That's I think that's kind of where that comes from.
Again, a lot of what you're saying, Dad, I totally agree with, and it's really kind of sort of a very similar sort of style. And I think that with politics, there's no political party. I find it really hard to vote these days.
Most normal guys our age are fundamentally centre right. If you really break them down. However, Conservative was supposed to be centre right. To try and appease people, they became centre left last time, which has led to the rise of what people are calling the far right. But actually, if you look at reforms policies, they're basically what the Conservatives were in the 80s.
I mean, I don't know enough about politics. I'm intelligent enough to give it.
So the whole thing has shifted, and it's exactly the same as the Andrew Tate, Sam Smith. They're looking at going, well,
the Thatcher eras.
Zach Polanski's mental, so I guess I'm over here because there's nothing in the middle that's viable anymore.
Yeah, and you could take a bit from everything.
Most people, if they were given a reasonable centrist option, would probably go for it, but there isn't one. And again, these two sides shout the loudest.
Yeah, and it's all time and perspective and how it changes. One of my I wouldn't call him a mentor, but a very, very close friend of mine who actually was, he's about 20 years older than me, or he's 20 years older than me. And he trained me as a chef, so I'm 43.
Okay.
He trained me as a chef, and so when I was 15, I think I started working for him in a pub, and he trained me as a chef, and I've been friends with him now for decades. And he's an amazing character. So he used to train like it was going out of fashion. He was massive, an absolute unit. But prior to that, when he again was an academic, left school very early, thrown out of home, had loads of problems, joined the army, and then during the time of like the Falklands and stuff like that, so he became he progressed through the army very, very quickly, and he did very well. And he loved Thatcher because he was just like, this is brilliant, because
I love Thatcher.
Really supported where he was. He then came out as gay a number of years later, and then he was dishonorably discharged from the army because it was that time where you couldn't get in the army. So kind of his entire life had to completely change. So from what he loved and what he did, and what he did very, very well and excelled at, and was having a blistering career, suddenly changed because of something in there. But yeah, so he's been an amazing guy to sort of be part of his life for many years. But it just does come back down to, I guess, where you are. And it's very difficult. I think politically it's very hard because I struggle now to go, well, who do I vote for? Because there's bits that Labour say that I agree with, but there's lots that I don't.
Which bits do you agree with that they say?
Oh, I'd have to check now what I actually do agree with. There are... The trouble is now.
I think you said that to sound nice.
No,
I
think current Labour is very difficult now, especially as a business owner, because it's gone very.
Because they hate you.
They do hate us, yeah, they do, and they've gone very state-based in the sense of we are now a culture of how we're going to be for. Well, yeah, exactly, that, a welfare state, and I think
we've got to pay for that somehow, and because if the welfare state becomes big enough, as long as we keep them happy, we'll keep getting voted in.
Yeah.
Where can we get that money from?
Yeah.
The medium size. We can't go after the megacorps because we're scared of them.
Yeah, and they're too big.
And we can't go after people on PAYE because we need their votes.
Yeah.
So all those people in the middle.
So we get fucked. Yeah. And I think in the last year and a half, the increase we saw. I mean, the national insurance increase for us.
And that was sold to employees as a positive.
Yeah.
But what it did, I've got a friend who
we stopped employing people.
Well, I've got a friend who runs a pub, and I think they had a payroll of about 48 people.
Yeah.
And effectively, they just had to get rid of the 2 shittest members of staff.
Yeah.
To justify to cover the.
Yeah, I think I'd have to double check, but I think ours jumped by 20 grand a month.
Yeah.
I think the national insurance increase alone jumped our payroll by about.
Decided, it doesn't affect.
And it was just.
Doesn't affect you
massive.
because it's a tax on the employer.
Yeah.
Well, the employer sets its wage based on affordability.
We didn't employ for basically a year, so we just sort of stopped and went, right, okay, and we had to completely change the way we look at it because the cost of bringing a new employee in was so high then.
I know you said you're not hugely well on politics, but I still think Liz Truss's budget should have been given a go.
Well,
super controversial.
Back to it. Yeah, it was make or break.
Drop VAT to 10%. Drop
Yeah.
corporation tax. It was a fiscal stimulatory budget, but the people who decide hated it. But it would have stimulated all of that mid-sector business massively.
I guess the way that I look at it is there's Britain. England is built off the back of small businesses. SMEs make up the majority of that.
Yeah.
And if you and most of those, and I was reading a stat to Jordan the other day about, there's only, what was it, Jordan? I think there's 38,000 companies out of the 6 million companies there are, or whatever it is in the UK. 38,000 of them employ more than 50 people.
Yeah.
And the rest are smaller. And actually, most of what we have is made up of people, as you said right at the beginning, of people that don't want to work for other people.
Yeah.
So they're an LTD potentially because that's the most tax efficient model for them.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they are small businesses, 1, 2, maybe 3 members of staff, and they're just trying to make it work. They're trying to build a business, build a product. They're not looking to Elon Musk it. They're not looking to be filthy rich.
Yeah.
They're looking to be able to pay their bills, be able to go on holiday, live a good life, pass something on to their kids.
Yeah.
Most aren't even looking to build a legacy. If you go and ask most people in the street, most people running independent stores and shops, whether it's coffee or whether it's butchers or whether it's fruits or whether it's hairdresser, they're not looking to be this huge brand. They're just looking to live their lives and not get screwed. And the trouble is, all the changes tax-wise impacts them massively.
I hate to use the phrase "well, the problem is," because the idea that there is a problem is wild. Like we're, the problems of any society are huge, but it does feel like things are building to a head at the moment. We, as the establishment, still operate as if we are a super important country on the global stage.
It is like a company, though. Countries do run like businesses.
But we act like we're still a really important country on the global stage. We're not anymore.
No,
end of World War II, we still owned huge portions of the world.
Yeah.
We don't anymore.
Yeah.
And we operate under the premise. The welfare state was invented in the 1860s, 1870s?
Yeah,
if we were Joe Rogan, we'd ask Jeremy to pull that up.
Yeah.
Welfare states are really new concept.
We've got a Jordan. He doesn't know how to use Google.
And the original point of that was just so that people didn't die of starvation or homelessness.
Yeah.
And that's a great, great place to be.
Yeah.
That has now become a scenario where the welfare budget is bigger than all of the income tax generated in the entire country.
Yeah.
And at no point has anyone stopped and questioned, is that the original purpose of this? Welfare states have never existed throughout antiquity. We shouldn't let people starve to death. I agree. We shouldn't let people be homeless. I totally agree. But we also probably shouldn't, as a country, cripple ourselves economically to the point that we become a third world country in the next 20 years by spending more on supporting people who don't work than all of the tax raised in the whole country from
because they just have to keep
income.
Taxing somewhere from
Well, it's fundamentally unsustainable. It's like Star Wars. The harder you squeeze, the more star systems fall through your fingers. Episode 4. It's the same with wealth generators, I think is the term, right? It's the same with people like yourself, people that employ large amounts of people that are fundamentally, people love to go, Amazon paid an effective rate of 1% tax. Normally, that statistic is based off turnover versus tax, which is the most retarded thing I've ever seen. But let's pretend in this magical world, Starbucks or Amazon or whoever, one of these multinational corporations that employs, what does Amazon employ in the UK? 30,000 people, 100,000 people?
I'd have to check.
Let's pretend that they don't pay any tax on their profits. I actually have no idea how many people Amazon employ, but let's say it's 30,000 people. I think it's more than that. That's 30,000 people paying PAYE. So even if Amazon aren't paying any tax,
they're still
they're still paying 30,000 lots of PAYE. They can't duck that. And that's 30,000 people that aren't on benefits.
On benefits.
People love to say, oh well, if you got rid of Amazon, that would be replaced with a variety of independent businesses. It might be. It also might not be. It's a really...
And Amazon's a great example as well. I remember having this with my dad a few years ago. We had it on 2 different fronts, and I called him out on a couple of things. But he was saying that he wouldn't use Amazon because it shits on the little guy, because the small businesses, they can't compete. And I went, hold on a second. Amazon's a platform. Yes, they have some of their own product, but it's a platform that you can use to sell your own products.
We're selling on Amazon with one of our businesses. They do take a big chunk.
They do. But they're a massive platform.
But this you can't compete. Well, I think South Park did a fantastic episode of this about Starbucks.
Oh, I may have seen it. Go on.
And the basic premise was Starbucks is coming to town. Everyone's pissed off because Tweak, his dad, has a coffee shop. And we support independent, and we go to Tweak's, and everyone rallied round. And then eventually Starbucks kind of came and just said, "Look, you want to just try our coffee?" And everyone tried it and went, "Oh, this is actually really nice." Like, because we're good at making coffee. That's why we're the biggest coffee. Because we're good at customer service. Like, we're good at what we do fundamentally. That's not to say that when companies get to a certain size, they don't start to drop the ball. But the fundamental point of that episode was sometimes the biggest companies are the biggest companies because they're the least shit.
I love Apple. No one will ever turn me off Apple or Nike.
I
love them.
I am very excited for the iPhone Ultra. It's going to be
and the folding. I mean, I've loved Apple for years just because it seamlessly fits into my life. I love the whole ethos of how it is.
They've done an incredible job of creating that, making that ecosystem very hard to leave. Like the thought, like if you said to me now you need to go onto Android. I physically don't think I could do it. And I only have a MacBook and an iPhone.
My son had a PC for Christmas because he's a gamer. So he's like, I want a game, I need a PC. So got him a PC, and then we had to set it up, and I was like, fuck knows, dude. Like,
I do have a PC at home for a racing sim that I still haven't put together.
All of our business stuff's on PC, apart from
so we've run all the business on Mac.
4 or 5.
It still creates problems.
We've got 4 or 5 of us are on Macs. Everyone else on PCs.
Label printers are still a problem for Mac in 2026.
Printers are just connecting to it, and you speak to the IT guys, and they're like, oh, Mac, and it's just like, well, but everything else works seamlessly, and it just connects, it just works, it just.
Well, just I can save a document on that. And I know you can do all this with Windows PCs and stuff, but it's just, I think what Apple do, the thing Apple have always done, because Apple bring out a feature and people love to shout about, oh, so-and-so did that 5 years ago. And almost certainly they're right. But very rarely have they done it in such a seamless, easy way. That's what Apple do.
And there's a reason why they're the biggest company in the world, certainly were. There's a reason why they have the most amount of money in the bank. Their income is bigger than most countries' economy. Like, there's a reason behind it. And again, you come back to employing people, employ some of the smartest people in the world.
I mean, I can't turn around and say, oh, another prison opens up in Shrewsbury. That's not a realistic scenario.
No.
But if, I don't know, fucking Camelot took over the castle. And
Merlin.
Merlin took over the castle. And they made it a really popular tourist attraction.
Brilliant for me.
Right, because it's more people coming.
Absolutely.
How is that fucking complicated? You got. I
would love that.
Because more people are coming to Shrewsbury to do stuff.
Yeah, I'd be like, this is great. And if you go there, you can get you turn up with your ticket from there,
and you get 10%
off it.
Absolutely. And that was the point I thought I was going to have to illustrate. Yeah. But you got it before it even finished speaking, because you're a business person.
Yeah.
You're not a victim.
Yeah.
Whereas there's a lot of people in your position who would turn around and go, oh, well, that'd be a fucking nightmare. How can I compete with Camelot? Well, you don't. You see what they're doing well. What can I do better? How can I work with it? How can I turn this to my advantage?
Yeah, no, and I think that it's fair to say, I'm probably not, I don't say it. Jordan will be able to correct me on this, and my Emma's probably out there, she'll probably hear it, but I'm far better now in my 40s and actually in my later 30s. And I used to be, my 20s I was awful, my 30s I was pretty bad. I just used to say it as it was, didn't give a fuck. I still don't give a fuck. I just tailor myself a little bit, purely based on, am I going to say something that people are going to get upset? And it's not because I care, it's more because I just can't be asked to deal with the fucking hassle.
Your demographic is kids and families, though, right? My demographic is hairy blokes. Yeah. So I've got a bit of an easier time.
We've had staff leave, and they really went at us, and I think I went out publicly, didn't I? And was just like, fuck it, basically. Like, it happens, and we don't always get it right. Yeah. And sometimes we get it right, and sometimes other people are wrong. And it's pretty obvious when someone's coming after you and they've got an axe to grind. It's pretty fucking obvious. Yeah. If they don't like it, don't like it. And if you don't want to visit, don't visit. But what we do is what we do, and I think that's. I guess you get to a size. Elon Musk is another good example where we spoke about that earlier, where he really doesn't care, and he'll just put something up on X.
Yeah.
And shareholder price changes. Entire economics of countries can change just by one bloody post. And he's constantly being sued by somebody. But I guess it's just like.
Yeah, people love to rant about Elon. Then when he became a trillionaire. People thought he had that in the bank.
It's just a paper exercise.
Like it's not real.
No, absolutely, it's not real.
I don't know if it's.
It's the thing that annoys me with hoarding wealth.
Yeah,
I have this with my family.
And there are some people that hoard wealth, right? There are some institutes even within the UK. The vast majority of stuff is shareholdings and.
I would say the church probably hoards most wealth.
Probably
in property. Like the church must have so much wealth tied up. Yeah. Just in terms of the property they own and everything within it. It's never gonna.
There are very few wealthy people that have got 100 million in their current account. Right?
I don't want to get into too much trouble with my family because they have enough challenges already with it. But I think that again, I have this conversation with certainly with my sister about rich people hoarding wealth. So rich people don't hoard wealth; they spend money. I said when I fly, I would love to be able to afford to fly business class, and if I could, I would fly business class every single fucking time. At the moment, I can't, so we have the middle step where we'll fly premium economy. Yeah. And, it'll cost us twice the amount, so it might cost $6,000 when we fly to New Zealand. It might cost $6,000 to fly to New Zealand, but if we fly premium economy, it's going to cost 10 or 11.
Yeah.
But if I can afford to do it, I'll do it. And the way I look at that is going, well, I'm still doing the same flight, I'm still taking off and landing at the same time, but that extra money is going into that airline, which will then go into their business somewhere and will filter through and across.
Well, and actually, I remember, was it Bezos spent 100 million on a yacht? Or $200 million or something?
He will have done, yeah, absolutely.
And a load of people criticised him, and he turned around and said, well, I could spend $250 million dollars on a yacht, and that goes to the yacht company who employs staff and buy equipment.
Yeah, and or I can just all the supply chain.
Or I can just keep the money
in the bank, put it into
Yeah, I fly upper, which is first class with Virgin quite a lot. Yeah. But they're the shittest first class, so they're the cheapest.
I love it. I fly first class, but it's the shittest.
It is the shittest first class. Yeah. But I have Virgin.
I fly premium economy with Emirates, which everyone tells me is like business class on everybody else.
But I have their Virgin credit card. Yeah. And pay as much of the business bills as possible with that. Yeah. Which gets you your points. So I generally I almost always fly Manchester to New York because that's the cheapest Virgin route, because I go train in New York and then I'll take a domestic flight in the US, because domestic flights in the US are cheap as fuck. Yeah. Take a domestic flight from New York to wherever I'm going, and I can get 2 to 3 upper class flights with Virgin just off the points. Yeah. I flew to Dubai once with Emirates first class. Not first class, sorry, business, because that's below first on Emirates. Yeah. And that was incredible. They came to pick me up from my house in an S class. They take you to the airport. They take your bags. They walk you through the lounge. You got your own check-in. Yeah. It was fantastic. It was $3,500. and I wouldn't do it again.
Would you not?
It's a short flight.
7 hours, isn't it?
You know, it's not horrendous. I pay for premium economy.
Yeah.
But and premium, you know, you get it for like £1,200, £1,400.
Yeah.
I was glad I did it. It was interesting. And they, again, the other end, they drop you off where you go and they pick you up to bring you back. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could justify it again. Obviously,
that's interesting. It's the justification. Is the justification based on?
I'm sure there's a level of wealth where people just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And that would be lovely.
Yeah.
I'm not there. But it's a big jump, right?
Yeah. And there's a few things there. My mother-in-law said to me, and I said to her when we were in New Zealand, so they moved to New Zealand years ago, and so we try and go over every couple of years. We used to we're trying to go every year, but it's not
a long way.
It is, yeah, which is why we fly premium economy, because we do a flight to Dubai, 7-8 hours, get on in Dubai, fly to Auckland, so we do 17 hours.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting on a plane for 17 hours straight, I'm going to be fucking comfortable.
Yeah.
I want to be comfortable. I've got 2 young kids, or certainly they were young kids. I'd rather.
So for that, I have looked at that, and I would pay for business for a lie flat. Yeah. I'm quite large.
Yeah.
And I do struggle a bit.
Yeah.
So over 10 hours and.
Yeah, exactly the same. But I think that she said to me, because I said the same thing. I was like, I really want to fly business. She went, why do you want to fly business? It's just more comfortable. Yeah. I went, but I just feel like I can't justify it. This was a few years ago, and she turned around and she said, do you know how you justify this? I was like, how? She went, when you earn the same amount of money or more on the flight, then it costs you for the flight. And I was like, that's a really interesting way of looking at it. So I was like, right, okay, maybe that should be a goal. Yeah. But I was like, but it does come down to it. And I had to get myself past this a little bit, because we bought a house back in 2019 and it's got a swimming pool. So I was like, this is amazing. And for a few years, I didn't really talk about it or share photos of it, because I was like, well, how are my staff, some of which are near minimum wage, not on minimum wage, but near minimum wage, gonna feel about, you know, the boss having a pool type of stuff? So I was like, I don't want people to be
the boss took the
kind
risk.
Of thinking about,
The boss took the risk.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that, but I kind of just like, I'm just not going to put myself into a position where I'm having to have the debate. Now I couldn't give a shit. I do it. Bought an ice bath the other day. Yeah. Changed my life. I was like,
this is good. Yeah. That sounds awful.
I was like, I kept saying to me, I was like, it's going to fix me physically and make me mentally.
There's one really good justification physiologically for doing an ice bath, which is that I like doing an ice bath.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
if you like doing an ice bath, that's totally cool. Yeah, it's a really funny thing.
Don't take the pleasure away from me. It fixes me physically.
Sure.
Like, it makes me mentally. It's amazing.
I've also got some beans I can sell you.
Well, so let's see what it's like in the winter, because at the moment it's cold. Great. Well, someone was saying to me, they go, this is good, you're getting this. I said, yeah, but at the moment, you know, you come out in the morning, it's 18 degrees, 17 degrees where it is at the moment, it's okay. Get in the ice bath, it's fine. Go for a swim in the pool, it's fine. Yeah. All nice. But when it's the middle of December, and it's freezing outside, and it's raining, and it's wet, and it's windy, and it's horrible, then we'll see how I get on with the ice bath.
Just on the fly, and I remember when I was relatively young, I went on one international flight. I remember getting on the plane and seeing a guy in a business suit with a suitcase, briefcase, getting on and turning left into business.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, like, that fucking dude, he's got it made up. And I've learned as I got older, it was a good friend of mine that pointed this out, that turning up on the plane looking homeless and walking into business class is actually the flex.
Yeah, probably.
That's the point when you're actually
successful. Probably is. Yeah, because you just
because you're no longer being performative.
Yeah, you're not having to. Yeah, you're not having to show up.
But you know, the question of kind of justifying your success to employees is a really strange one. I think the further the more layers there are between new member of staff and yourself is one of the big things.
You get to a point, and certainly I reached this, I don't know how long ago it was, but it's probably in the last year and a half, where new members of employees start, and they've never known you as anything else other than CEO, sat up in your ivory tower, top of the jail kind of stuff, doing whatever it is you do.
So it's irrelevant. It's like a relationship. If you get with a girl and you smoke, she can never really have an issue with you smoking. If she does, she can fuck off.
Yeah.
If you get with a girl and you don't smoke, and then 2 years later you decide to smoke, she has a right to object to that. You know, in the same way that you might, you know, with anything you do, you might be into cars, or you might, I train BJJ or whatever. I train 5-6 days a week. That can't ever be an issue, because it was an issue when we got together.
It was the way.
And I think it's the same thing with staff, right?
Yeah.
If the status quo radically changes, maybe it's more understandable that they...
Well, I think it's the fact that there's a few members of staff that are here that have seen me on the ground grafting, here at 7 in the morning, here till 7 in the evening, doing 6-7 days a week. Probably got a couple of them still left here. Certainly one of our directors has seen that. And delivering tours, and delivering tours and stuff like that. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
they're in an office as well doing stuff. So new staff just assume that you don't know how to do it. They assume you don't understand the problems. You don't know what it's like to deliver this. You don't know what it's like when it's hot.
I've done every single step within my business.
Yeah, exactly.
For years on my own.
Yeah.
But
so you do get that, and I think you just get to a point where you go, do you know what? I'm just not. That's fine, because you can see it. And I can remember being a member of staff years ago and having exactly that same thought and being the most difficult member of staff, I think, probably at the time, and really challenging everything the CEO was doing, and just go, but they haven't got a fucking clue what they're talking about. And I remember the middle management pulling me to one side and saying, Joel, they know exactly what they're fucking talking about because they've done it. And I just like, no, I don't.
What job was that?
That was when I was a lifeguard.
Okay.
And they're head of the company, so we ran 6 leisure centres at the time. So it wasn't massive, but it was a decent size. And just the decisions he was making, and I was just like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And they were like, this guy knows what he's talking about. And he sat on the board of the IHRSMN, stuff like that. So, and it did turn out he did know what he was actually talking about.
Yeah.
And me in my early 20s didn't have a fucking clue.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
But yeah. But, and the thing was, and the thing I look at now is there was no telling 22-year-old Joel any different. He was going to have to learn it for himself. So I just don't bother. I just that's fine.
Yeah.
That's how you are now. In 5, 6, 10 years time, come back to me and see if it's still the same situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is those kind of things.
I've not had loads of jobs, but every job that I got an interview for, I had.
Yeah.
But I got sacked from one job ever. And I won't name names or anything. It's actually someone who's based in Shrewsbury, still runs business in Shrewsbury. But the boss was always off doing various things. He was into motorbikes and so on. And I'd not been there a huge amount of time, and I'd had a day off the week before because I ended up not being very well. I'd never really take time off, but I'd taken that day off. And then the week after, my daughter ended up in hospital. So I messaged him on the Tuesday night, hi mate, I'm really sorry, my daughter's in hospital. I'm going to have to go. She lived in Lincolnshire. I'm going to have to go and deal with that. I'll be back in on Thursday. Didn't reply. I didn't think a lot of it. Went, dealt with that. Wednesday night, I got a message. Hi, mate. Don't bother coming in tomorrow. Only job I've ever been sacked from. Is what it is. It's fine. I saw that guy recently at a car meet. And I was there in something really quite fancy. And he was there in a reasonable but much less exotic vehicle, and he came over and he said, "Hey mate, I bet you don't remember me." I was like, "Oh no, I remember you."
No, I remember.
Yeah, quite a few the guys that I know. And he's like, "Oh, what car were you in?" I pointed at what I was in. What you in? He pointed at what he was in. He's like, he's like, you remember who I am? I was like, "Yeah, you're so and so. You're the only person that's ever sacked me." He's like, "Oh, I don't remember it was quite like that." I was like, "No, you do. I've got the message on my phone. I had to go to see my daughter in hospital, and you said don't bother coming in again." I was like, "I can pull the message up right now if you want." He was very uncomfortable, and I think I made all the other people with us uncomfortable. But as I said to him at the time, he probably did me a massive favour, because that was the last job I had before I started this.
Yeah.
And I probably wasn't very in because I wasn't very interested, because it was a temporary bit of work in a warehouse. He did me a massive favour that day, and he probably, the way he did it wasn't great, but I probably wasn't the highest performing member of staff at the place. But that was a really fun moment. But it's that same thing of I was fairly resentful towards him because he would turn up for an hour a day in a fancy car, shout some orders about and fuck off. So it's funny how things work out.
It is, and do you know what, Sam, who started with us 4 or 5 weeks ago, is just, it's fair to say, I think is really, don't want to get too extreme, too melodramatic, but it's really changed my life because she's so good at her job.
I don't know what her job is.
I'm not even sure what her job is, but she's very good at it. Right. To the extent that, and George will be able to testify to this, that I would come in at about sort of 8:15 every day. I'd be here till about 5:15, 5:30, 6 o'clock, sort of every day. Go home, go to the gym. So, and that was kind of how I ran everything. And now I can turn up kind of whenever I like. I rock up sometimes. I think maybe in the last 5 weeks I've turned up at 8:15, maybe twice. I'm kind of rolling in at sort of 9:15, 9:30.
You know this, but you shouldn't have to be at your. If you're the CEO, you shouldn't have to be here.
Well, no, yeah, that's exactly it. And I think what's happened for me is that person has been able to transition to me, for me to be able to feel really comfortable to go, oh, actually, if there's an issue, they'll shout, they'll give me a call. And actually, the other day, and I think it was the first time ever, I came in it was about 9:45, maybe 10 o'clock, and I left at 2:15.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I going to do with all of my time? And even this morning, just going through, I was like, there's no emails to deal with. There's nothing to deal with. I can just work solely on project work. And I was like, the most dangerous thing for our company is, Joel, to have free time. Yeah. Because it's just I will find new things to do. And it's like, right, what are we off to?
I had a health thing about 4 years ago now, which is why I stopped bodybuilding and got into BJJ probably just over 4 years ago.
I really want to ask you about that. That's a lovely transition. Carry on.
I didn't go to work for 3 months. The NHS were obviously useless. I ended up going to see a private person and they resolved my issue in 3 days. Yeah. I just gave them. They were like, oh, have you got health insurance? Like, I'll give you whatever money you want if you can fix this. Yeah. And it was 3 days later, it was sorted. I'm not going to work.
I do that.
It was easily fixed. Yeah. But after 3 months, I literally couldn't leave the house. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I came back to work after 3 months off. I was like, right, come on, how bad is it? And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, sat down with the accounts. I thought, oh, we've made more money. Like, just be here less. I was like, oh, okay. I'm fucking largely irrelevant. And that was what allowed me to step away from the day-to-day, because up until that point I micromanaged everything. Yeah. And I had to just like put people in place and be like, can you just crack on? And it was fine, and that's what's allowed us to do new projects.
Because I bet that when you've got space, i.e. you're not dealing with the day-to-day function of running a business, which is what I think a CEO does, actually, in fairness. I think a CEO, and you've got entrepreneurs, you've got business people, one everybody can do, one has to be taught. And I think that COOs, CEOs running big companies, you don't find big, very, very wealthy people running their businesses. Elon Musk doesn't run his companies. Yeah. He's got very, very sharp people.
He about, throws ideas and things.
Exactly that. Once you've got space and capacity, and that's certainly what I've been seeing over the last few weeks, and I'm not dealing with day-to-day accounts, I'm not looking at, I spoke to a guy who was a chairman here, and I was like, I'm really curious because I want to be a chairman. I want to be where you are because I feel like you're a few years ahead of me. And when he broke down what he did, and he was like, well, I get up in the morning, I roll into work when I want, I check the bank balance. I don't know, how often do you check the bank balance? He went, every day. And I was like, oh. He went, do you not check yours every day? I was like, no. He went, did you last check yours? I was like, 3 months ago. And he was like, what? How do you do that? I was like, well, because I've got a guy that does that. That's his job, is to make sure we have money in the bank. And if there's a problem,
he'll tell me.
He will bang on my door and go, hey, Joel, there's a problem. And in 60 days, we need X, and there's a concern. And then we will figure out how we're going to solve the problem. So I was like, so that's kind of where it is. And then you have space. When you have space in your head, because I don't know how it was for you, but when I created my first company, I was working, my first company failed, but I had space. I was working for somebody else. I wanted to do something. Yeah. And therefore I had space to think and come up and be creative and innovative and do something different and find white space. And you lose that, I think, when you start your company, because you get drawn into payroll, HR, day-to-day, ordering, processing, finance, systems, processes.
A lady called Evelina, Sam comes to see her. Yeah. She runs the day-to-day. And I tend to just turn up and cock stuff up and then go home.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I think that's what companies need, and I think that is exactly what Elon Musk does and Bezos does, and people like that.
Turns up and they're like, this fucking guy.
Yeah. Did you see there's bits I love about Elon Musk. Did you see the interview with the reporter about the rockets? So they were talking about the rockets. They were talking about how the rockets they send up when they detach, they lower themselves back down into Earth, and they come down. And the reporter said, why don't you do that with the shuttle? And Elon was like, well, we don't. And you could see him live going, actually, now that you've said that,
No, I have seen
we,
that.
we could do that. And then they saw it like 10 months later, and he say reporter was like, hey, you said that, we did it.
Yeah.
And it was just a reporter came up, why didn't you do that? And suddenly he was like, actually, we could do that. And you've got space, and suddenly you can think, and off you go. Which I think actually, and one of the great things by not being here as much, what I've been doing in the morning, not every day. My wife goes to the gym every morning traditionally, and I go in the evenings. We sort of separate. Some mornings I will go as well. I'll do something very light, but I'll go as well. Then we ice bath because it makes a difference. We go for a quick swim into a hot tub, cup of tea, breakfast.
Well, if you're going to hot tub after the ice bath, then you're soft cunt.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be as miserable as possible for as long as possible.
I'll mention that to Emma in a bit.
If you're enjoying it, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, well, there is that. And then I come into work, but I've got space, and I'll go back and I'll train in the evenings, and exercise and well-being and health and those things, as you sort of piece it together, gives you so much more brain capacity, I think. And there's obviously a real science and a whole thing to it. But you obviously do. I go kickboxing, which I love. I'm not very good, but I do enjoy it. But you obviously do BJJ, which I've looked at.
Yeah, I compete a lot.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I've always wanted to compete with stuff. I just realised that I've talked a lot about how woke culture is ridiculous while wearing a rainbow t-shirt. I just want to point out that we did this. This is 10 years old. We did this before it's cool. I don't buy any clothes ever. I'm wearing some really nice Nike trainers today because someone left them in my gym.
Because someone left them in your gym, just grab somebody else's trainers.
Yes. Well, they've been there for a while, and they look nearly new. Yeah. So. If they're your trainers,
but I think you can wear a rainbow coloured top. What you can't do is wear a rainbow coloured top and then go, the world is against me because I wear a rainbow coloured top, and because everybody thinks that because I wear a rainbow coloured top, this is unfair. I'm having to pay more tax. I'm having to do this, and it's just the world's against me.
The thing is, there's nothing special about me, and that's sad. So I want to be special.
Yeah.
Anyway. I did powerlifting, bodybuilding for years and years and years. I ended up with this health thing. It was a heart thing, but it was like a complication of the virus we're not allowed to mention. And the NHS, basically, I ended up with a condition called inappropriate sinus tachycardia, which is you'd be asleep and then your heart rate would go to 220 beats per minute, and then it'd be stuck there for 4 or 5 hours.
Fucking hell.
And the first time it happened, I was literally asleep. I woke up, I was like, I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah, because that must be like full on 100% off the go.
The equivalent of like running a couple of marathons. So I would then sleep for 2 days.
Sprinting,
Every time it would happen, I would then sleep for a couple of days. Went to the NHS, they're like, have you taken any recreational drugs? I was like, I was fucking asleep.
Yeah.
Once we established that I wasn't, like, I literally crawled in, I was like, I'm having a heart attack. And they put me on an ECG. So weirdly, I developed the only heart condition you can have where your ECG is completely normal, because it's to do with inflammation of the AV node, which sets the pace, but not the rhythm. So the rhythm was perfect, it was just really, really fast. They're like, are you sure you haven't had any recreational drugs? Like, I was asleep.
They just think you were snorting cocaine all day, basically.
And they put that on my form. So then every time I went back to the hospital, they were completely dismissive. Kept giving me beta blockers, which put my blood pressure so low that I would pass out. And I basically couldn't leave the house. And this would happen 2-3 times a week for weeks and weeks and weeks. In the end, I went private. I went to see a guy called Dr. Narani. He's like, oh, this is a condition that little old ladies get. Not Dr. Narani, was it Dr. A guy at the Birmingham Heart Rhythm Group, absolutely fantastic. He's like, this is a condition little old ladies get, but in the last year, we've seen loads of young men develop it. We go in through your groin and just ablate a tiny little bit in here, and then the problem's fixed.
Cool.
So that sounds fucking great. And he did it, and it cost a few grand, and then it was sorted. And the conversation did come up, is like, is this a thing that happens when people get the vaccine, or when they... And it was 50-50. He was like, neither is good. And I'm not going to jump on a pedestal and say that that's bad or that's bad. Like, neither one of them is good for you. So I had that. I realised this is not the question you asked about.
No. Go on.
Because I'd gone from being a big, strong guy, like I'm still reasonably big, but I was 130 kilos when I was powerlifting.
So what's that? 130 kg?
I'm 102 now.
Yeah.
So I was 28 kilos bigger.
How tall are you?
6 foot.
Yeah. That's big, eh?
So I'd always,
that's a unit.
I can show you.
That's not what I want to be facing on a rugby field.
So I'd always operated entirely from the misconception, I'll point out, that I'm fucking massive, so I'll be fine. And I went from that to being...
Normally the opposite is true.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. No, I'm well aware now that I lived entirely in a fantasy world. However, I found a picture when I was a big boy. Where the fuck are they? So when I was on I lost a load of weight. I was really physically frail. I would pass out because these beta blockers made me faint and so on. That was me.
Yeah, you're a big guy, eh?
Yeah, so in my head, I was fine.
Yeah.
I then had that all taken away from me by this illness and medication that would make me feel like I was going to pass out. And I remember walking down, I used to live in Ligomri near Telford.
Yeah.
I remember walking down a back street and there was a group of lads in hoodies and I was scared. That's it. That's all it was. I'd never been scared of other men in my life. It was just an alien concept. I realised, perhaps for smaller guys or for women, that I've been told by when I've had this conversation with certain people, they're like, that's how a lot of people feel all the time.
Yeah.
You know, if you're like a 60-kilo chick, every time you see a group of guys in a back alley, it's scary. Yeah. I'd never experienced that before. So I went, oh, fuck. I don't like it. Now, the guys did nothing. They were just a group of young lads walking down the alleyway. They did nothing wrong. They didn't even look at me funny. But I just spent probably an hour being like, fuck, that was like, if they jumped on me, I couldn't have done a fucking thing. So I then joined Combat Athlete in Telford, joined their MMA classes. I was like, well, I need to learn to fight.
Is that your first step into any kind of martial arts?
Yeah, never done anything before. So that was about 4.5 years ago now.
Yeah.
Went to the MMA class, learned that I was in fact helpless.
Yeah, it must have been so humbling.
Oh,
brutal. You were what, sort of 130 odd kilos?
Yeah.
Like just getting taken out by guys the size of Jordan.
Yeah, 100%. And actually, I didn't stick with the MMA side of it for very long because I don't like the striking.
Yeah.
I've got lots of old injuries and stuff from what I did. But the grappling side of it's really fun. It's a little bit cerebral. It's a little bit like physical chess, kind of.
Yeah, you kind of. I've never done it.
Yeah.
But I love it. And again, my friend who's a vicar.
You should come to Grapple Max.
See, I nearly started a few months ago.
I don't think I've Theatre 7, September 5th. Saturday night. I
haven't told my wife this, but I nearly started. She doesn't watch stuff that I do, Jordan. It's fine, so it's fine. Even if you clip it, she doesn't watch it. I nearly started just down the road from the prison here. Yeah.
They're really good guys.
So I messaged them and they sent me through all the stuff, and I was like, but it did clash with kickboxing. I didn't really want to give up kickboxing, and I was looking. I was like, am I going to pick up a shitload of injuries through this? Am I going to fuck up my shoulders, my knees, my elbows? And I was just like, yeah, exactly that. That
was BJJ,
yeah.
My whole pec came off.
And I'm just like, oh man, I gave up rugby a number of years ago purely because the injuries and how long it took to recover.
I currently have, I don't know if you can see that very well, but I have that dislocated, so that's now fat. Tore my pec off. I popped my right ankle the other day. Yeah. I am full of injury, but it's so much fun. It does become addictive. You train every day.
That's the thing. I mean, I did dislocate a finger last year playing cricket.
Yeah.
But it was.
But yeah, the grappling is super fun. So we run a grappling show every September. I compete quite a lot. I won an interclub the other day. I've competed in America a fair bit. I'm going out to the Pan Americas in New York in October to compete.
I watched your video where you took on your instructor, I think, it was a brown belt.
Oh, that's a very old video.
Yeah.
I'm much less shit now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's a very old video. He's black belt now.
Yeah.
And he's very good. But yeah, that was a long time ago. But no, I've competed 3 times in the last 4 weeks. Won.
But I get what you're saying about the chess side. When I watch it, when I see it, when I listen to people talk about it and such, it's very much kind of you're on the floor and you're in a position and you're trying to figure out what to do next to be able to submit them and to stop them submitting you and where's your advantage and stuff like that.
In a training environment, it really is like that, particularly if you're training with good people. The guys at SPG are great, the guys at Alenta are fantastic. When you compete in a little bit, that goes out the window. I compete quite regularly, but when you first start competing, you're like, oh fuck, this guy's trying to hurt me.
Yeah.
Because in the gym, no one should really be trying to hurt you.
Yeah, other
than like the funny, like, whoa, it got me.
Yeah.
So the dynamic does change, and there is more athleticism involved in competing than maybe there is in training. But it's super fun, and I was about to say it's safe. I don't think it's training should be safe.
Yeah.
So, you know, as a hobby, I thoroughly recommend it. And we've got guys that train that are 50, 60, 70 years old.
Yeah.
You can train at any age.
Yeah, because when we do kickboxing, we have sparring at different points. I won't spar. I will only, if I'm going to do it, I will only do it with the guy I partner with.
Yeah.
I'll do it with my wife.
Yeah.
Which she always batters me. Or I'll do it with the instructors.
Sure.
And I won't do it with other people because the danger is you just the control.
Yeah.
And I know with the instructors, I can lose a little bit. I can hit them a bit too hard or kick or land something, which is very rare.
Yeah.
But I know that they're controlled enough that they will go, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Rather than coming back and battering you and picking up the injuries. And it literally is that. But I love the idea of when I looked at it, I love the idea of the humbling side of it, because I do constantly think I need to always just everything I can do to keep my ego in check is a positive. For sure.
That's a funny thing, because you're told when you start, like, you can't have an ego. It's a big thing that's really I think like kickboxing or whatever, if you're fairly handy, you've always got a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
Right, you might catch them.
Yeah.
But you do not. If you roll with someone like Tristan, my coach.
Yeah.
I've trained for 4.5 years. I'm physically bigger than him.
Yeah.
I don't have a puncher's chance. I have no chance. There is no scenario where I don't lose. So you're always you can't have an ego with BJJ until you get to a certain point
where you can.
Then you have so much ego. But I guess that's true with a lot of sports.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, again, I'm quite a. I always say that I'm not egotistical. I just say that I'm, you know, confident, and I'm vocal and confident, and you know, it comes across as ego or arrogance. I'm just.
It's only arrogance if you're wrong.
Yeah, I just like, if I'm fucking good at something, I say I'm good at something. I'm good at something. There's nothing wrong with it.
Ego's a problem if you think you're really good and you're actually shit.
Yeah.
But if you're really good at what you do, fucking tell people. And if they perceive that as arrogance, that's on them.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. So
I thought that would be squidgier than it is.
I don't know sure I've ever picked that up. Jordan came up with this thing. So when we first started the podcast,
you put loads of different shit on the table.
Yeah, every time someone comes in, they leave something or something's here. So we sort of just put it in. Jordan was like, we'll just put something in from every single guest that comes in. We'll just sort of put them in and stuff. So yeah, we had a load of stuff that came from Martial Harmony, which
I don't know what that is.
They're a recruitment agency, which Jordan is going to tell me now they've had far too much airtime for us, and basically should be paying us sponsorship.
There we go.
But they did the recruitment for it. Absolutely. They did the recruitment. So that's how I got Sam. And also somebody from our marketing team. So they did do a great job doing that. And then Rob that came up, who owns Shoot Hill, which is an IT company originally, and now they've expanded to other stuff. He didn't leave anything, but he hates having his photo taken. So after the podcast, we always go down to the prison, and we grab a photo in front of the green screen. So I got his photo, and I chucked it up into there, and I thought I'd just leave his photo here because he'll hate it. but I'll keep it tucked away so you can't see it. So it's inside. Yeah. So it's a photo of me and Rod just in there. So just sort of keep it tucked in there for him.
I thought you'd actually printed that photo into the.
No, oh God, no. He
just for banter.
No, he would be livid. And also, and that's the thing, you know, you get to I don't know when it happens, but you get to a point where there's actually a lot of decisions I can't make now.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, that's one. If I wanted to change that, I can't just go. Could I?
You could throw your toys out the pram, but it wouldn't.
I could definitely. And Sam and I had this conversation the other day about something, and I said, look, if you can just bring me a pram filled with toys, just so I can have my moment. And she was like, yeah, cool, no worries. But yeah, I couldn't really go to the team and be like, hey guys, I want you to change this and put this in because I think it's better. Yeah. I could go to them and make a suggestion, but ultimately that's what you pay them for. Yeah. You know, that's what you employ them for. You want them to be better than you. Yeah. So the idea is they do better stuff than I do.
I try and employ people that are better than me at stuff that I can't do.
Yeah, right? 100%.
You fill the gaps that you don't have. Yeah. And then I'm really big on, we've got a guy helping us, Lewis Evans from Social 90, Shrewsbury-based lad. He's done incredibly well, helping us out with some marketing stuff at the moment. Yeah. And he asked me my opinion. I was like, I don't ask my opinion because I don't know. Like, this is your thing. I'm really big on, if people have got a thing, let them do it. I don't tell him how to edit video. Yeah, no, I just leave it to it. Yeah. I help with the captions. But the actual editing and putting it all together and the trailers and all that kind of stuff, I think I stay out of his way enough. Yeah. I think I do. And then, but I watched your content, and I was watching it. I was looking. I was like, man, it was very, very enjoyable to watch. Which content did you watch? Just across the board. So I watched a load of stuff from not stuff on your personal Instagram because it's locked, but I watched the stuff through all the STROM channels that we can't post.
Is it? Okay, I might give it a
wild.
But I watched all the STROM stuff, and I could see I was like, these guys have a lot of fun as a team. I saw you on the forklift and stuff, picking up the posters. I didn't really know what was going on, but I could see.
Evelina is Swedish.
Yeah.
She.
It was very Gestapo-y kind of posting.
She is. She's very strict.
Yeah.
And there's a running joke about. I'm a big fan of political history.
Yeah.
The Swedes were not Nazi collaborators.
Yeah,
they just collaborated with the Nazis a lot.
You said about the Swedes were like, yeah, it's fine as long as you don't just take our was it like wine and chocolates or whatever.
As long as we're not inconvenient, you guys crack on and do what you want. So we got a big poster of the Übergutenführer up on the wall.
It was just the whole concept of like, you put this poster up. I wasn't quite sure what was going on. The whole idea that Sweden would just like, yeah, whatever, as long as you don't inconvenience us, it's fine, crack on.
But if you go on the YouTube, you get a chance. We used to do like day in the life videos. And they were really good, but they were 20, 30 minutes long. People just don't watch long form content. People listen to shit like this in the car. But they don't watch long form content on YouTube generally. I do. But the majority of people don't, and I miss doing that because it was really good.
We have the same thing because I try and film two different bits of content. So we do this, which is very much long form, and conversational, and go anywhere, and anything can happen. But then we also try and do like entrepreneur life, which the idea is just following everything that we sort of do as growing a business, and that naturally kind of follows what I do. And it's quite hard. I mean, actually, I blame the marketing team because they've stolen Jordan. I bought Jordan in initially just to kind of do this stuff, most of it, and they've stolen away more and more and more. So we need to get some more. Absolutely, need to get more capacity into that. And then, Sam's telling me that I've got.
She's sick of our bullshit.
Yeah, no, I think one of us has got 10 minutes.
Have I got 10 minutes?
I don't know. One of us has got 10 minutes.
Is Rose alive?
I don't think I'm in a rush today. I think I'm all right. Yeah, she's all right. Yeah. Emma's not shaking her head, so I guess we're not. There's nothing that's too controversial yet, so it's fine.
There's nothing that's going to directly impact Emma.
In fairness, she used to work with sex offenders, so I think actually mine's easier.
Is that where you met?
Oh fuck! I walked straight into that one. Absolutely straight into that one. No, we met when she was at uni. So she was at psychology. She was in psychology. She was studying psychology at university, and we both worked in a pub in Bristol. This really horrible, grotty pub. So a friend that I grew up with in a village ran it. I bumped into him in a nightclub. I didn't have a job, and he was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "I ain't got a fucking job. I need to get a job." He goes, "I need a chef. Come cook in the kitchen." So I worked in the kitchen. Emma worked in the bar, and the first day we met was when she was in the bar, I was in the kitchen, and it was such a grotty pub that you came straight in. There was a downstairs to the toilets, and heroin addicts would come in, go straight downstairs, lock themselves in the toilet, shoot up, pass out. So pretty much the first time Emma and I were together, meeting each other, was going downstairs, banging on these doors to get the heroin addicts out the toilet so we could open the fucking pub. So we met when she was 19, I was 20. And then she finished a psychology degree and eventually ended up working in a prison in Shepton. So she works at Shepton Prison, which we now have. And she works as a psychologist doing sex offender treatment programs. So basically, sex offenders would be in prison, and she would do programs with them around...
With scissors or...?
Yeah, literally, all chemical. All around victim empathy and enhanced thinking skills and, why you commit crimes and stuff like that. It's a whole other world that she would have to explain. I won't do it. There was this whole thing though with it was called SOTP, it's a sex offender treatment program, and basically it was regarded, it was built by a very well-renowned psychologist, and what would happen is I think about 8 prisoners would sit in a group with a couple of psychologists, and they would talk about their offences and they would talk about all these kind of things, and it turned out a few years later it was the worst possible fucking program ever. It was a proper Pandora's box.
That's a great idea. I'll get on that.
Exactly.
Have you?
Exactly. You got that before I even had to explain it.
So there's 2: Lenny McLean, the governor, and Roy Shaw. What was it? Untamed, Unleashed. They were 2 bare knuckle boxers.
I know Lenny McLean.
And Roy Shaw was Lenny McLean's kind of main rival. Roy Shaw claims he knocked McLean out. McLean claims that they put metal in the gloves or something. I don't fucking know. But he ended up in Broadmoor. And he was talking about exactly that. That kind of all sitting in a circle talking about what they were doing, and about how he ended up battering someone for what they revealed that they were into.
And the main psychologist that created the program did turn around and years later said, "Look, this is exactly that. Fucking shunned. like shunned from sort of psychology. Well, I don't want to get this wrong, because no one will fucking care, but no one's going to fact check me on it. But yeah, I think they got kind of shunned from that world. But they were like, look, I've fucking got this wrong, and I've always looked at this gone, look, they've held their hands up, they got it wrong. Why would you take them out of the situation? Clearly, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Clearly, at one point, they were held in really high esteem. They've got it wrong, but they've said, I've got it wrong. Then bring them back in and help them fix it.
Everything public sector works though,
Just
right?
nuts.
If there's an issue, we need to blame a person.
Yeah.
Then get rid of them, and the rest of us can carry on taking a wage.
Yeah, and it's so annoying with like any government, any council. We just fucking down here with the gyratory system. When that happened,
my God,
and then the bloody council went, well, that wasn't us. That was the government before us. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, guys,
So
you're
have you
still
seen
at
the
there.
Freedom of Information Act? They announced the money for the relief roads. They spent £29 million on the relief.
Yeah.
And then I think a few people, but I requested a copy of a breakdown of that 29 million. And the breakdown is the biggest fucking joke I've ever seen. Shropshire Council, embarrassment.
Yeah, I would like, 100% agree with that. £100,000 agree with that.
And then there's like £100,000 consultation.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not a breakdown. It's just a list of, this is where the money went. Like, I can't remember the exact figures, but X amount for land survey, and we're talking tens of thousands, £100,000.
It's absolutely.
So
ridiculous.
I followed that up with, and I've not had anything back. I assume no one else will. Can we please have, if we've done a land survey for £40,000, can that land survey be made public?
Yeah.
Can all of this consultation, with this £29 million of consultation fees, surely all of the reports should be made public.
Yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't you?
And I'm sure this hasn't happened, but if it turned out that the reports were not to the standard that £100,000, £200,000, £1 million would justify, surely we would then, as a public body, go to the private bodies that have charged these fees and ask for a refund. Surely.
Well, let me ask you this. So, because who is at fault here? So, I'll give you a real life situation, which
councils fundamentally are spending other people's money.
Yeah, and this is it. So, I'll give you the real situation, which is happening right at the moment. I've spoken about this. So, the wall. So, you walk across the Dana footbridge to go towards the castle. You go down the Dana steps up Castle Street. They've been wanting to knock a hole in the wall at the end of the footpath to basically by the castle grounds.
Yeah.
So people can just walk straight through. So it's stepless. Fine, perfect. The council don't own either parcels of land. They don't own the wall. So they've been trying to do this for like 25, 30 years and got nowhere. And all they're doing is creating a hole in the wall and putting a footpath in. So they've got to a point, I was chatting to them the other day, where they have got now to, what they need to do is put a planning application in, listed building consent, put a hole in the wall. They want to put a gate in, but regardless whether you need to or not, and a footpath, which is probably a 15-metre footpath. Yeah. They've ring-fenced £100,000 for the work, and I think it was 12,000 of that is just the architect fees to do the design work and put the planning application in to their own planning department.
Yeah.
And then they've got to do a load of survey work and stuff like that. And then they've actually got to pay for the works to be done, which they're going to use their own contractors to do. So when you turn around to an architect and go, right, we need you to do this, and the architect knows that because if we used our architect to do it, probably be 1,800 quid.
Yeah, that seems more reasonable.
Yeah, probably 1,800 quid. Fully done.
Endemic across all of British society.
Is it the architect's fault for charging more?
No, it's
because it's the council, or is it the council turning around and going?
Council for not doing any due diligence.
Yeah, fuck that. We'll pay you 1,800 quid.
Or get the quotes through a fucking third-party shell company and tell them it's the council.
Or just turn around and go, guys, we're not just going to pay you zero.
HS2 has now cost us more than it cost them to go to the moon. For a train that no one fucking wants.
Yeah. If trains just ran on time, I'd be happy. Yeah. I'd be okay with that.
Right.
If it ran on time,
oh my God,
I'd be fine.
I spent so much on that.
Yeah.
This is the way of things. Nothing gets done anymore because of bureaucracy.
When I was at the network event the day, somebody was trying to tell me about HS2 and about how it was going to be a massive benefit, and nobody understood what the benefit was. And I think I just turned off. I was like, dude, if they just ran on time, I'd be happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the rugby's on, and I'll drink my non-alcoholic beer because I was driving that day.
Yeah, no, it is. It's utterly. I mean, the gyratory scheme is a prime example of just.
That's been such a headache for us. Yeah,
it was awful. I avoid coming
into Shrewsbury.
I avoid coming specifically to this side of the kind of railway.
Yeah.
I quite often will drive through and park near the Rowley's house.
Oh yeah.
So back out that way.
Yeah, I get that. The crazy thing is, and they're really annoying, and they're voting on it tonight, so hopefully some common sense actually fucking lands and prevails. But the frustrating thing is, if it was 2 lanes of traffic, which is hopefully what they're going to vote to make it back, it actually, all the improvements will suddenly make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But when it's 1 lane of traffic, it is mental.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and we speak to the guys at the Butter Market. We speak to Martin, and he's been great at driving
that they've put in.
Yeah.
Is too narrow for regulation anyway.
And why would you have a bus stop in the middle of a road? I've never seen it before in my life.
It doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely not. So yeah,
someone got paid for it. Someone got paid for it, and they went
a lot of money.
Same as with track and trace.
Yeah.
What was that? £30 billion of public money, and it didn't fucking work because it was on Excel. Surely, if that was private business, someone would turn around and go,
If you ran a company like the way council do, and not every council, but certainly Shropshire Council and probably a few others, if you ran your company the way that they do their works, you'd be out of business within days.
Look, defence spending, that's been in the news.
Sorry, Sam, I'm getting there, I promise.
What, have we got somewhere important to be?
I've no idea what's going on. But
very quickly, I'm going to make this point because it's annoying.
What's what, sorry? Oh, I've
Conrad?
got,
I'll fight Conrad.
Yeah.
What?
Sorry, Conrad. I do apologise.
Who's Conrad?
Conrad's one of our trustees on our charity.
The government have recently announced that they want to increase defence spending by, is it 1%?
I haven't.
With NATO budgets.
I haven't seen it fully, but yeah.
You're a CEO, right?
Yeah.
If you turned around to your team and said, right, we need to make things better, I need you to spend an extra 100 grand.
Yeah.
With no other guidelines.
Yeah.
Surely that's the worst way possible to achieve that. Surely you would say, these are capabilities I need.
Yeah.
These are things we need. This is stuff I want you to get. This is an improvement you want to make.
Yeah.
And you've got a budget of this much to do it.
Yeah.
But what they've done is they've turned and gone, right, you need to spend an extra £280 million.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the brief.
Yeah.
Just fucking spunk that money away somewhere,
off it goes.
and then something, it'll be better.
Yeah.
That's also how, by and large, the NHS work.
Yeah.
Councils, we've increased the budget for this. Everything, surely, in all of it, whether we're talking about the council, we're talking about gyratory, it should all be goal-led and budget constraint.
Yeah, outcome orientated. Yeah.
Like any business.
Yeah.
Yeah, outcome orientated is absolutely. Yeah. We've got this much money and we need to achieve this. What is the best way of us doing that? As opposed to you've got this much money, see where you can spend it.
See where you go. Yeah, because they will. I mean, I'm pretty confident if I turned around and said that to our COO, he'd be like, okay, I'm going to put some parameters around this.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably actually quite similar to how we do work to a degree. I'm like, hey, I think we should do this. And he's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Why? How do you see it? He tries to unpick all of that and then puts actual, a proper plan. Just
get rid of 100 grand for me.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Anything, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can see some people getting some nice extensions done.
We've got to go and see Conrad though.
I do have to speak to Conrad, but yeah, the NHS has been a big thing for me because it's
other people's money.
Well, it's a sickness service. It's a national sickness service, not a health service.
I pay
You only go there when you're sick.
I pay 120 quid a month for Bupa now.
Yeah.
Not because I'm better than anyone. That's what I do. Because after I had my heart thing, and that covers me, my partner, and both my daughters. For any clinic anywhere in the UK, there is an excess of about 500 quid a year. I don't have an issue with that particularly.
I turned our excess off.
But as I get older, I might do that.
Yeah.
But my point to this, the NHS costs, I think from memory, it averages out to a couple of £100 per person per month.
Yeah.
So I'm getting 4 people for £120. I'd have to check the figures, but from memory, I think it's at least 8 times cheaper than the NHS.
Yeah.
And Bupa make a profit while providing a much higher standard of care.
Yeah.
And when I say this, people go, oh, so you hate nurses. No, nurses are fantastic. Doctors are fantastic. All the people working on the ground are fantastic. Middle management and up are spending other people's
bureaucracy and the paperwork and the
bureaucracy levels upon levels.
And
they're overpaying for drugs, they're overpaying for everything because it's not their money, they're not budget constrained. Every year the NHS overspends. What happens? Nothing, because they just magic more money.
Yeah, and if you speak to certain people in the council, they kind of go, when you talk about the works and you talk about the castle wall, because the castle wall 5 years ago, they were told, hey, you're going to need to do something with this. And I think it would have cost them about 20 grand 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not in the budget. So they kept pushing it. Now what's happened is it's going to cost them £250,000.
Put a hole in a wall?
No. This is the actual castle wall.
So
So what they've now had to do is, because they've had a new report done 5 years later, it's gone, hey, these stones are going to fall off the top of the wall.
Nice.
So like, shit. So we've got this whole scaffold up now. They've got to take all the stones off, have them repaired, and then have them put back up. It's going to take them 18 months to do it. So they've got scaffold up for 18 months. Jarvis's are like, hey, happy days, which is fair enough.
Maybe get I mean, look, I'm sure the council have had extensions done before, but maybe get a job price.
Yeah, but they could have spent 20 grand 5 years ago. And now they've got to spend 250 grand. And when I spoke to the guy that's in charge of it, and I won't say his name,
should definitely have some.
But when I spoke to him, he turned around and was like, "Yeah, but it's just public money, effectively. It's not a, it's not." And I was like, and he wasn't frustrated by it. He accepted that that's the taxes we all pay. It's just
Clarkson on Clarkson's farm.
If I did that, that'd be nuts.
Well, you seen the latest season of Clarkson's farm?
I haven't seen it. No, I haven't seen that.
So he was talking about a situation. He was talking about a situation on there regarding TB.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Look, I'm sorry, guys, but this is fucking bollocks." And all the other farmers were like, "Oh, but that's just the way it is." He's like, "Well, I'm sorry, I don't." He's like, "You know what? You've done this your whole life, so you've just kind of accepted that that's the way it is." Same as people in the council. We've got people that work in the council, work in government, that have institutionally just done that. They've just been public servants. Yeah. Oh, that's just the way it is. Actually, you've got someone like Clarkson in the farm and comes in and goes, "Well, I get that that's the way it is, but it shouldn't be."
Yeah, we should be able to change that.
And we should be able to change it. And it's almost like the power of ignorance allows you to instigate that change that we should see. But unfortunately, people like yourself that are driven and can see these issues don't want to go into. The only people that have time to go into public service are either people who are retired, and therefore it doesn't really affect, or people who aren't able to. This is deeply offensive to some of you council people, I'm sure. People who haven't been able to make it work on their own.
Yeah.
You show me someone like yourself that could do what you're doing, that goes, "No, fuck it, I'll get rid of all of that and I'll go work for the council."
Yeah. No, I hear that, and
that person doesn't exist, or if they do, they're very, very rare.
Yeah, and there's a few, I guess, in politics, but again, I had to sort of look at how much people get paid in the council and stuff like that, and if you change that scale, you'll get a very different type. But I actually think I'm quite against councils running certain things. I actually think that it's better to have companies run a lot of the council systems and processes, because they'll do it more efficiently.
Yeah,
it's about making sure that as long as there's constraint on terms of
these companies then go, "Oh, well, it's for the council." I mean, like we've all seen, it's not just the council, right? If you're getting work done by a builder, I'm sure you've had this. Are you paying for this, or is the insurance? Oh, the insurance will be paying for this. Oh, I'll stick a bit on the quote then.
Yeah. No, we've not had it quite that. But what I can say is, for example, the castle, council owned, council run.
Yeah.
If we ran it, it would be a hell of a lot better. Firstly, we would make it make money.
Yeah.
Secondly, it would make and secondly, it would make enough money that we could cover all of the repair costs, all of the upkeep costs, make it more accessible. We wouldn't open 4 days a week. We'd open 7 days a week, 364 days a year.
You've got to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the difference, right?
But also, we can just cut through all of the crap and just go boom, off we go. So yeah. Look, we better wrap up, because I've got to go speak to Conrad.
No, absolutely.
But look, this has been great, and absolutely, I would definitely try and get you back at some point. And I'm not going to start jiu-jitsu because I get it. I think I will love it, but it will be great for my ego. It really will be. I'm just so concerned about the injuries. I'll think about it.
That entirely depends on who you. If you train with people that you trust, you'll be fine. You got to watch out for the 20-year-old rugby beginners.
Oh, okay.
Jordan.
Yeah, the Jordans of this world who are just absolutely nail me. But no, thank you.
Do you train Jordan? No,
but he's the sort of size guy that I expect they'll come up and say, I'll be all right here, and then suddenly
guys have done it for a while. But no, look, absolute pleasure. We'll get out your hair.
Yeah, no, it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you very much for bringing us down the drinks and stuff.
You're very welcome.
Happy days.
If you get me cancelled, I'm gonna turn up here.